Прийшли окупанти до нас в Україну, форма новенька, воєнні машини та трохи поплавився їх інвентар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Російські танкісти сховались в кущі, щоб лаптем посьорбати довбані щі, та трохи у чах перегрівся навар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Приперли зі сходу до нас барани для восстановлення
великої страни.
Найкращий пастух баранячий отар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Їх доводи всяке озброєння різне, потужні ракети, машини залізні, у нас на всі доводи є коментар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Вони захопити хотіли нас зразу, а ми зачаїли на орків образу з російських бандитів, робить примар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Російська поліція справи заводить, там вбивцю рашистів ніяк не знаходить, хто винен, що в нашому полі глухар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Веде пропаганду кремлівський урод, слова пропаганди ковтає народ, тепер нове слово знає цар.
Байрактар.
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 Yes.
The Leaf Street Army sends its regards.
everyone. I'm the Enforcer, and I'm coming to you by Enforcer Matt.
And good evening, folks. It's Enforcer Matt. It's good to see you all once again on day 302 of the news. It feels like we were just here a minute ago.
And we were here in the middle of the day doing a midday stream to address everything that we weren't able to last night. And of course, we have loads of news to report today on the war in Ukraine. But surprisingly enough, both of the things they're going to be reporting on in a large amount of detail didn't happen in Ukraine. One happened in Moscow, the other one happened all the way in the middle of the United States, because believe it or not, President Zelensky actually arrived in the United States just today, met with the President of the United States, and gave an address to Congress, and at this moment, we believe that he is currently back on his way to Ukraine again. Very impressive, to say the least, that he ever even came to the United States, and of course, he had a little speech. Now, one thing I will say, a little bit of a change here, and another thing before we get into this news, is that we will actually be going over the quote-unquote address from President Zelensky nearer to the part of the stream where we actually cover the news, which will be in just a second about Zelensky coming to America, because today's address we've actually taken from C-SPAN, where President Zelensky addressed Congress. So we'll actually be showing that at the beginning of the stream to show you all what he said here, because believe it or not, we were talking about this last night on stream, at least for the 30 minutes we were on air, and Matthew and me were kind of talking about, I wonder if he's going to speak in English. I said he probably would. Matthew was like, he's probably going to, he might speak in Ukrainian. He ended up speaking in English, so we can actually understand it without subtitles. Also, another thing that y'all may or may not know is that a limited edition merch run has just dropped today.
What?
Yeah, I mean, like, I bet you can't even believe it, Matthew.
I can't even believe it.
I mean, like, he can't believe it, and he's actually the one who designed it, which tells you how crazy this really is. But real quick, let me scroll down here to the limited edition merch runs, because these are absolutely incredible. Introducing to y'all the Christmas Badger. This is a limited edition merch run. It'll only be available until Saturday or Friday. We're still deciding that right now, because we're trying to figure out how we're going to be running a fundraiser, considering that Sunday is Christmas and we're taking that day off. So we don't know if we're doing a Saturday fundraiser, or if we're going to make a short video that goes up on Christmas that has a fundraiser attached to it. Right now, I'm more so leaning in the option of the latter, not the former. But moving on from that, the Christmas Badger. Incredibly cool. Let's take a look at it real quick. Of course, we have to show it off. It comes in a variety of colors. Green, Kelly green as a matter of fact, and red. So that way if you want to get a little bit of festive and you had a friend, you can make sure to sit there and get a green one and a red one and be ultra festive. We also got the normal variety of colors. We've got cardinal, I kind of call that maroon, light pink, midnight navy. Actually, that one's a really good looking one. I like that. Turquoise. We also have military green for any of you troopers out there. We also have heavy metal, just in case if you've ever wanted the taste of lead, you too can have it in color form. We also have cool blue, which kind of looks like a blueprint paper blue. Kelly green, of course, and black, which is the original Lee Spring Army colors and also the colors of the channel. And so, if you want to get one, you can, and it comes in every single size, all the way from extra small up to 3XL. We would make them even smaller, and we would make them even larger, but sadly, these are the only size options that they give us from Teespring, so this is all we can do. But still, make sure to get some. It supports the channel, and also it gets you in the Christmas season. And now, Matthew, I know that we have to give a shout out to the artist who made this.
Yes, we do.
And we've called them before by a name, but it seems as though they actually have a bit of a new change to their name. So tell us who the artist is according to what we know today.
So you'll notice down at the bottom of the listing description, it says artwork created by 6022 by 1023. So that is actually Avogadro's number, which is the artist who created the fantastic artwork on the shirt there. Absolutely fantastic. I have no idea how she does it, but she is very artistic and I am not. So I can't even understand how she comes up with these drawings, but it is so fantastic. It has leaf springs on the bottom of the sleigh. The honey badger has an EOTech scope on the top. So detailed and so cool. I big shout out. It's actually Fuchsia Cohn's daughter, and she is very, very talented. And we do appreciate her donating the artwork for the merch. And it is so cool that she continues to draw up really cool honey badger like artwork. It's really, really cool, and we thank her very much for it.
And of course, a huge shout out to Avogadro's number for making this possible. Probably the channel artist in terms of cool stuff that goes up on the merch store, and we can't wait to see what comes next. But of course, if you want to support the channel and get something cool out of it, make sure to go to the merch store. So now that we've gotten that merciless plug out of the way, which I had to do because we didn't want to go without pointing out such a piece of work, we're now going to be moving on into the United States of America to talk about the war in Ukraine. Kind of the first time we've ever done this as a one-off, but the president of Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky, arrived today in the United States. We can actually see a picture of him right here. Look at that, in the Oval Office with the President of the United States. And it's kind of very reminiscent, if you don't remember, Matthew, when he was here, when the former president was in the Oval Office, they sat in the exact same chairs in the exact same way.
They sure did.
So kind of like a return to form a little bit, but this time in a much different situation. And of course, he is trying to ensure that Americans know what the Ukrainians are doing and why it's important to support them. And so after he met with the president today, of course, had a talk with him, he then, I guess it suffice to say, hung around a little bit, and then he went on and traveled over to Congress, where he gave an address. But before we move on, I'm going to show you all the other picture I have here. We can see him here, of course. I believe this is, I don't know what wing this room is, but they, of course, gave an address to some press members, talked a little bit more. I'm supposing that that's the president's wife, the first lady. We can see them at the press conference again. We can see them walking. Now, one thing I have to note is that President Zelensky is actually quite short. You know, like this picture,
he's very short.
This picture makes him look a little tall, but I believe he's like 5'6", 5'5", and compared to us, Matthew and me, who are like 6'1" and 6'2", he's a pretty short guy. But you know that doesn't mean anything, because they always say that big explosions come in small packages, and this guy is definitely the iteration of that in true form. You see another picture. This one is the Coca-Cola commercial picture where they both have a Coke and they're having a laugh or something like that. We can also see him being received at the White House when he first arrived, and then a whole entire picture montage of pretty much all the ones we just saw. Of course, really cool to know that he was even here, and not only that, he also, like I said, gave an address to Congress. So let me hop back over to Ukraine to the address from President Zelensky, and let me show you all that, because this is something pretty interesting, and of course will go down in history. So let me go to the full event, because I have to go and get the entire speech. If you get the selected clip, it only shows you a small part of it. What? Hang on.
Are you a YouTube?
Hang on, wait a minute. C-SPAN runs ads?
Now that's different.
That's new. All right, so let me skip forward. Let me find a speech. Let's see here. I guess that's it. Sorry, we're gonna have to go back for a second. I gotta try and find it out of this clip. It's not curated like most of them, so we have to go through and try and find it. Alright, so, without further ado, here's a speech from President Volodymyr Zelensky to Congress today.
Who's that humming into the mic?
I have no idea.
Members of Congress, I have the high privilege and the distinct honor of presenting to you His Excellency Volodymyr Zelensky, President of the Ukraine.
Now, you know, I was just...
Ukraine.
You know, it's Ukraine, not the Ukraine. You know, not to nitpick or anything, but you would think, considering that it's, you know, 30 years in the future and it's not a part of the Soviet Union anymore, you would call it Ukraine instead of the Ukraine, like it's a part of the Soviet Union. Anyways.
Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much. That. Thank you. It's too much for me. All this for our great people. Thank you so much. Dear Americans, in all states, cities, and communities, all those who value freedom and justice, who cherish it as strongly as we Ukrainians, in all our cities, in each and every family, I hope my words of respect and gratitude resonate in each American heart. Madam Vice President, I thank you for your efforts in helping Ukraine. Madam Speaker, you bravely visited Ukraine during the full-fledged war. Thank you very much. A great honor. Thank you. Great privilege to be here. Dear members of the Congress, representatives of both parties who also visited Kyiv, esteemed congressmen and senators from both parties who will visit Ukraine, I'm sure, in the future. Dear representatives of diaspora, present in this chamber and spread across the country, dear journalists. It's a great honor for me to be at the US Congress and speak to you and all Americans. Against all odds and doom and gloom scenarios, Ukraine didn't fall. Ukraine is alive and kicking. Thank you. And it gives me good reason to share with you our first joint victory. We defeated Russia in the battle for minds of the world. We have no fear, nor should anyone in the world have it. Ukraine's gained this victory, and it gives us courage, which inspires the entire world. Americans gained this victory, and that's why you have succeeded in uniting the global community to protect freedom and international law. Europeans gained this victory, and that's why Europe is now stronger and more independent than ever. The Russian tyranny has lost control over us. And it will never influence our minds again. Yet, we have to do whatever it takes to ensure that countries of the global south also gain such victory. I know one more, I think, very important thing. The Russians will stand a chance to be free only when they defeat the Kremlin in their minds. Yet, the battle continues, and we have to defeat the Kremlin on the battlefield. Yes, this battle is not only for the territory, for this or another part of Europe. The battle is not only for life, freedom, and security of Ukrainians or any other nation which Russia attempts to conquer. This struggle will define in what world our children and grandchildren will live, and then their children and grandchildren. It will define whether it will be a democracy of Ukrainians and for Americans for all. This battle cannot be frozen or postponed. It cannot be ignored, hoping that the ocean or something else will provide a protection. From the United States to China, from Europe to Latin America, and from Africa to Australia, the world is too interconnected and interdependent to allow someone to stay aside and at the same time to feel safe when such a battle continues. Our two nations are allies in this battle. And next year will be a turning point. I know it, the point when Ukrainian courage and American resolve must guarantee the future of our common freedom, the freedom of people who stand for their values. Ladies and gentlemen, Americans, yesterday before coming here to Washington, D.C., I was at the front line in our Bakhmut, in our stronghold in the east of Ukraine, in the Donbas. The Russian military and mercenaries have been attacking Bakhmut non-stop since May. They have been attacking it day and night, but Bakhmut stands. Last year, 70,000 people lived there in Bakhmut, in this city, and now only few civilians stay. Every inch of that land is soaked in blood. Roaring guns sound every hour. Trenches in the Donbas change hands several times a day in fierce combat and even hand fighting, but the Ukrainian Donbas stands.
Wait, I gotta pause this right here, Matthew, because I don't know if you're noticing this, and I gotta turn this down because it's about to be so freaking loud. But you know, right here, they started clapping so much you can see that he was trying to still read. And he was like, like he was trying to say so. He was like,
Yeah.
He was like, I don't know. Like one thing that's very weird about America is that we, and culturally, we smile a lot more at strangers, and we also clap a lot more than normal, well, not normal, other cultures around the world. And so it's sometimes odd for Europeans to come to America and deal with so many people just smiling as a norm and also clapping so much. So I'm sure this is like throwing him off. He's like, yeah, this isn't normal. But anyways, we're gonna let it continue.
Russians use everything they have against Bakhmut and our beautiful cities. The occupiers have a significant advantage in artillery. They have an advantage in ammunition. They have much more missiles and planes than we ever had. And it's true, but our defense forces stand. And we all are proud of them. The Russians' tactic is primitive. They burn down and destroy everything they see. They send thugs to the front lines. They send convicts to the war. They threw everything against us, similar to the other tyranny, which is in the Battle of the Bulge. Threw everything it had against the free world, just like the brave American soldiers which held their lines and fought back Hitler's forces during the Christmas of 1944. brave Ukrainian soldiers are doing the same to Putin's forces this Christmas. Ukraine holds its lines and will never surrender. So here is the front line. The tyranny which has no lack of cruelty against the lives of free people. And your support is crucial, not just to stand in such fight, but to get to the turning point to win on the battlefield. We have artillery. Yes. Thank you. We have it. Is it enough? Honestly, not really. To ensure Bakhmut is not just a stronghold that holds back the Russian army, but for the Russian army to completely pull out, more cannons and shells are needed. If so, just like the Battle of Saratoga, the fight for Bakhmut will change the trajectory of our war for independence and for freedom. If your patriots stop the Russian terror against our cities, it will let Ukrainian patriots work to the full to defend our freedom. When Russia cannot reach our cities, but its artillery, it tries to destroy them with missile attacks. More than that, Russia found an ally in this genocidal policy, Iran. Iranian deadly drones sent to Russia in hundreds became a threat to our critical infrastructure. That is how one terrorist has found the other. It is just a matter of time when they will strike against your other allies. If we do not stop them now, we must do it. I believe there should be no taboos between us in our alliance. Ukraine never asked the American soldiers to fight on our land instead of us. I assure you that Ukrainian soldiers can perfectly operate American tanks and planes themselves.
I like how they took that as a joke.
Jesus Christ, you just blew my eardrums out. But yeah. Also, by the way, man, just letting you know, I'm turning this thing up into the roof so people can hear it. So it like give me like some kind of warning on the phone or something that you're about to talk, because you're gonna blow my eardrums and everyone else's out. Like it's like, oh Lord. Anyways, we're gonna get back to it. But yeah, they're sometimes laughing at the wrong things, and also you can see that at some points, like, he's just trying to read the speech, you know, and he's got, I think he's actually got phonetics down there on the paper, to try and pronounce things as best as he can and have somewhat of a larger vocabulary. And so it's really annoying him that he's trying to keep up and remember how to specifically pronounce some things, and then people are just going ham out there, you know. But anyways, with that, we're going to get back to the speech. We're going to turn this back up, and make sure, Matthew, next time, give me a heads up until the speech is over, because that almost blew our eardrums out. And you can see in the live chat, everyone is like, oh my God, my ears. So anyways, we're getting back. Also, by the way, a lot of y'all are asking for the volume to be turned up. I'm trying my best. We've got everything up to the max. That you could tell by Matthew talking. My eardrums are bleeding right now, and I'm sorry that it's not incredibly loud, but please bear with it.
Financial assistance is also critically important, and I would like to thank you very much. Thank you for both financial packages you have already provided us with and the ones you may be willing to decide on. Your money is not charity. It's an investment in the global security and democracy that we handle in the most responsible way. Russia could stop its aggression, really, if it wanted to, but you can speed up our victory. I know it. And it will prove to any potential aggressor that no one can succeed in breaking national borders, no one committing atrocities and reigning over people against their will. It would be naive to wait for steps towards peace from Russia, which enjoys being a terrorist state. Russians are still poisoned by the Kremlin. The restoration of international legal order is our joint task. We need peace. Yes, Ukraine has already offered proposals, which I just discussed with President Biden, our peace formula, 10 points which should and must be implemented for our joint security, guaranteed for decades ahead. And the summit which can be held, I'm glad to stress that President Biden supported our peace initiative today. Each of you, ladies and gentlemen, can assist in the implementation to ensure that America's leadership remains solid, bicameral, and bipartisan. Thank you.
And that right there was the end of President Zelensky's speech to Congress today. And I gotta say, it was fairly good, and especially for someone who can speak English, but not that well. He did an incredibly good job. And of course, a lot of people I saw in the live chat going, "It's scripted." I don't think y'all understand. I don't know, because maybe people don't pay attention to this stuff. But every time any president in American history has talked and it looks like he's looking into the crowd, there are teleprompters to the left and right of the camera's frame that he's reading off of, and they also do that on talk shows as well. If you ever go to the late night show with Stephen Colbert, or really anyone for that matter, I'm trying to think of all of them, Conan, Jay Leno, Johnny Carson, you know, for some of the older talk shows, they actually had people holding giant cardboard like slabs off camera that had cue cards on them, and they would flip them and they would tell them exactly what to say at exactly the given moment. So you know, it's kind of a little bit of an oddity that I'm able to throw out things so quickly on the stream without a cue card. Wait a minute, can you flip to that one next? Thank you. So I'm just kidding with you. But anyways, very good to see that he gave.
So also, he did give the Speaker of the House the Ukrainian battle flag, by the way, and also I think he got an American flag in return.
He did. He actually did. I didn't show that for the sake of time because it's 9:40 now, and I want to make sure we can keep on track. But he actually gave the flag of the Bakhmut battle flag that had been signed off on multiple soldiers the other day, and we saw that on film. He actually handed that over to the Speaker of the House, and in return, he got a folded American flag. I thought it was a very nice little exchange right there. I thought that was great to see, and of course, it's good to know that from what we saw, at least in terms of applause, it appeared that the support for Ukraine was bipartisan in a way. We did not see anyone during the address, whenever we got to take a look at the House, sitting down and not clapping at anything he said. And so it appears that by and large, at least at that moment, everyone was largely respectful to him, and it may be showing that his visit to the United States may have actually turned around some hearts, maybe, and we may see that support will continue at an even faster and larger pace than before. Speaking of which, an $1.8 billion spending package is currently in the works right now, and let's take a look from this list as to what's going to be sent over. So, 1 Patriot air defense battery and munitions. Wow, Andy, that's nice. It's a Patriot air defense battery, batteries included.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
You usually have to buy those separate, don't you?
Yeah, usually you have to get those separate, but it looks like we're throwing it in an all-together package. Additional ammunition for the HIMARS. Of course, great to know that the HIMARS will be able to keep on churning out the deadly fire. 500 precision-guided 155mm artillery rounds, so Excaliburs, 500 of them. 10 120mm mortar systems, and 10,000 120mm mortar rounds. So that's enough ammo to keep those... Well, that's really enough for each mortar to fire off 1,000 rounds before they run out of ammunition, so quite the large number. 10 82mm mortars, 10 60mm mortars, quite a small number of 60 mils. 37 Cougar mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles, 120 high-mobility multi-purpose wheeled vehicle Humvees, 6 armored utility trucks, HARM missiles, now they're being publicly listed as being sent over, precision aerial munitions. Now, that's something somewhat new. We actually have never seen precision aerial munitions on the list before, and so I wonder how they're going to implement those and use them in the future. Only time will tell, but that is a really good one right there. Over 2,700 grenade launchers and small arms, Claymore anti-personnel munitions. Oh, that's pretty neat. I don't think we've seen that one before on the list, but I hope that those do quite well. Demolition munitions and equipment, night vision devices and optics. I don't know how many there are of those. They're fairly expensive, so hopefully it's in the hundreds. Tactical secure communication systems. Why in the world was tactical thrown into that? Why? I mean, I don't understand. Like, to quickly go off on that, I don't know why tactical is thrown into stuff like it's just a buzzword or something. It doesn't add anything to it. You could just say secure communication systems. What's different in between normal communication and tactical communication? There isn't. I mean, you know, I know someone's about to be like, oh, it's encrypted, blah, 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 where you speak in code. Yeah, but you're still speaking English. You know, it's just a secure form of communication. Ooh, like, it's a radio. Anyways, body armor and other field equipment, a great addition. We know the Russians don't have any, so that's a massive improvement over what the Russians have. And then the capabilities in the Department of Defense's 850 million USAI package are expected to include, and this is quite a massive number, 45,000 152mm artillery rounds, which can be used for the Russian artillery pieces, 20,000 122mm artillery rounds, 50,000 grad rockets, 100,000 rounds of 125mm tank ammunition, SATCOM terminals and services, and funding for training, maintenance, and sustainment. Impressive. I mean, like, just in terms of the ammunition being sent over, the Ukrainians will be able to keep their already existent supply of equipment running for a decent while, probably about a month or two off of these numbers, which is very good to see, and hopefully all of this makes it over there very soon. One thing that we did see that was kind of expected is that they're not going to be getting a wall of Patriot air defense systems. They're only going to be getting a single air defense battery. Of course, when speaking of a battery, there could be multiple missile launchers inside of it, but we didn't expect multiple batteries to be sent anyway. So it appears that all of this is up to spec, and I think that Zelensky may be happy with his speech if this is his speech payment. A lot of people, even after being the president of the United States, get paid to go do speeches for dinner clubs and things like that, but I don't think they get paid like this. But anyways, with that, that's the end of that little bit of news. And of course, nice to see that it went pretty well for Zelensky today, and hopefully while he's traveling back to Ukraine, he makes a special trip down here to Birmingham and meets us. But, you know, too much to ask. Anyways, while Zelensky was having a good time soaking in the limelight here in the United States, it appears that in Russia, an entirely different story was unfolding, because today, Putin addressed the Ministry of Defense, and it appears that he is not really having a good time justifying anything that's been going on in this war, and at this given moment, he's trying to justify the amount of casualties that the Russians have taken. Right here. Here's a video.
Что столкновение с этими силами, в том числе и на Украине, неизбежно. Вопрос только был в том, когда это произойдет. И
now, sadly, we do not have a translation for this, but I think you can get by his tone and his demeanor that what he's saying isn't exactly good. And what he's talking about right here in specifics, and I'll translate the title to this in a second, is he's trying to justify the casualties they've taken as reasonable, or at least what they were planning on.
Конечно, боевые действия, военные действия, это всегда связано с трагедией и с потерями людей. Это мы прекрасно понимаем, отдаем себе в этом отчет. Но поскольку это неизбежно, лучше сегодня, чем завтра.
Also, I like how he's got Sergey and whoever this is. I don't even know what general that is. On both corners of him, and they're just sitting there having to stare into the crowd like they're going to shoot laser beams at whoever looks up.
And what happened to all that loud talk he was doing? Now he's all
Yeah.
quiet and meek.
I wonder what happened to all that psychobabble that he was doing at the beginning. Now it seems like it's not really going all too well, but at least we have gained some ground, and we're holding it right now. And, you know, the 100,000 guys who died for it, they died for something, right? And everyone in the room's like, not really. And then these guys are like, we will shoot anyone who looks like they have disdain. It's a really good look for him. In the middle of what Zelensky's doing, he's in a quiet room filled with military commanders trying to justify the casualties that they've been taking as reasonable or something similar. So real quick, actually, let me take this title. You'll see this title right here. Let me copy that. And let me copy that. Let me go translate it. English, well, actually Russian to English, and I'll get y'all a translation for that right now. So, let's see. It says, it's better to die today than tomorrow, in quotes. So apparently Putin said something like that in the address. You will die better today than tomorrow, so I can die better tomorrow than today. Kind of a
There's
summary.
that death talk again.
Yeah, there's all that death cult worshipping stuff again. And you can see that the Russians have gotten in such a negative mindset that even Putin has succumbed to the death cult that he's trying to spread around the country, and even he sees it in a similar light, which is kind of good to know that they really have no hope anymore, and you can even see that at the very top of the government. And so we're now going to be moving on into the next bit of news from Russia, where we can see that the Russians are starting to get antsy pants. And as y'all know, there have been no air defenses activated anywhere in Russia, but it appears that now, in the middle of winter, sand batteries are being set up around Moscow. When you see as someone's driving by on a road on the outskirts of Moscow, there is it looks to be a S-300's radar, and either an S-300 or an S-400 missile. Actually, no, that's a Pantsir. And so we're actually seeing that they're setting up not long-range air defenses like an S-300 and S-400. They're actually setting up very short-range air defenses like a Pantsir to try and protect the capital from what they may believe to be future drone attacks. Of course, the Ukrainians have already shown that they have the ability to attack that far into Russia to actually hit Moscow, and it looks like the Russians are starting to take this as a serious threat, and they're now starting to try and prepare some kind of defenses around Moscow so that way they can maybe try and stop some of it. Now, one thing that they can't stop is the backlash in the public over one of their recruitment ads, and I believe y'all may have seen this the other day when we ran our 30-minute stream yesterday, is that they're now running ads targeted directly towards the poor in Russia, and making it sound like joining the military will be their way out of poverty. Well, suffice it to say, it appears that a lot of people in Russia actually didn't like that kind of messaging, and it's been received terribly. It's been received very poorly, and it's received loads of backlash from everywhere. According to Andrei Medvedev, he said such a big spit on our people can only be considered a crime. Golly, I mean, like, that's pretty bad. And also, we watched the ad the other day, Matthew, and that thing was pretty freaking rough. I mean, it didn't cut any lines at all, and making it almost satirical what the military was wanting people to do.
The one about the sacrifice for the Lada?
Yeah, the Lada. You know, come on, old man, I want to buy it. And then he's like, scoot off, freak. I've signed up for the army. We're keeping the Lada, father. Like, that one was received badly, very badly. And it appears that they're not going to be having a lot of fun. I think that the group of people that we saw in the ad may actually have to end up going into the military to try and find some money, because I don't think they're going to be getting paid a lot for that commercial now, considering what we're seeing has happened now. So with that, that's all the news we have from Russia. Of course, had to keep that a little bit short because brain rot does set in after a certain amount of time of looking at Russian news, and I don't want that to set in on you all. But before we get into Ukraine and start talking about everything we've seen there's one last thing I have to talk about that we saw the French declare today in France. See, the French have been a little smart. They've been very clever. And in France today, in Paris, of all places, of course, where the seat of the French government is, the President Macron declared that there will be sending new air defenses to Ukraine. One that I have never heard about before, the Crotal air defense system. Now, I had to save this for the stream, so that way we could both look at it together, because I have no knowledge or any information about the Crotal air defense system. So let's take a look at what it can do. So, let's see. The original Crotal was designed by Rockwell International, that apparently also had a hand in the B-1 bomber, in France for South Africa, where it was named Cactus. However, the achievements of the system impressed the French armed forces, who purchased the system both for the Air Force and the Navy. It was designed in the late 1960s, produced in the early 70s, and there's around 6,600 missiles in total for this air defense system. So, scrolling on through, when you see that these missiles, the V1T, the VT1, can travel at speeds up to Mach 3.6, quite fast for conventional missiles, and the normal R440 can travel at Mach 2.3, and we're going to assume that's the one that the Ukrainians were sent, or the R440. We can also see that the operational range of these missiles is somewhere around 11 to 16 kilometers, so not an incredibly long-range system. It's not a Patriot, but it is something similar, I guess you could say, to a NASAMS. But what is it able to shoot down? That is the question, and we're going to try and find an answer to that right here. So, Crotal consists of two components. Yep, it does. It does, actually. The surveillance radar and fire direction radar have a range of 20 kilometers, and the TV link works up to 15 kilometers. The TV guidance uses both regular and infrared cameras. The system can follow 8 targets simultaneously, and the guidance radar can follow both hovering helicopters as well as fighters exceeding Mach 2. The Crotal can also use surveillance data from other systems, data from optical surveillance, and from the general aerial picture of the National Air Defense Communication System. So in short, this thing can see anything anywhere, for the large part, and considering that it uses infrared cameras, you can easily see a jet, because if you don't know, jets actually are pretty hot. You know, an afterburner, or a jet engine in general, does not burn cold. It's pretty warm, and so it'll be able to see just about anything out there. And also, it looks like these systems are... Oh, no, Matthew! Oh, no. I know you're probably looking at the live chat, Matthew. We're about to scroll back down here. But I got something that'll blow you away. You know, this system, it sounds pretty good, you know? It's like, it sounds pretty high-end.
It's from the 70s.
It is from the 70s, but based off of what it can do and its interlink abilities, it sounds pretty top-notch, doesn't it?
No, I don't think it is, personally. I think it looks old.
Huh. Well, interestingly enough, the Chinese ripped it off. There's a Chinese knockoff.
That was stupid to knock that off if it's so old.
Well, I mean, it's... From what we can tell, if we can get any kind of service history for it, it doesn't appear to be that bad. Considering that the French are still using it to this day, you know, that would be like the United States using nothing but Hawk surface-to-air missiles to this day. And if it was that bad, I would feel like they wouldn't. And let me see, is there any service history for this thing? Let's see, the Crotal. Let's see, how effective?
What if the Chinese ripped it off thinking it was like next level technology, and they just ripped off the 70s system?
Maybe. I mean, they probably could have done that. Let's see. So it appears that the only things that it's ever engaged were drones at differing altitudes at different ranges. So sadly, we can't really get a lot of information on how these things perform in combat. But based off of them being around for quite a decent while, and also, Matthew, you got to remember the Gepard was introduced into the 70s as well, and it's still one of the most effective air defense systems that we've ever seen in use in Ukraine. And so this thing may actually be useful. We'll have to wait and see, of course. We don't have any combat proof to really verify whether the thing's good or not. So just give it time, and we'll see if we can get any information on whether this thing is actually something to be feared by the Russians or not. And so with that, also, everyone's making French jokes. It'll get halfway to the target and turn around. And okay, let me say this. The French get a lot of bad rap about their military. It's not that bad, especially nowadays. They have a really good military. A lot of incredible equipment. I'm sure that many of y'all haven't even heard about some of the stuff they have, like the Tiger attack helicopter. Let me pull that up for y'all real quick.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Have you ever heard of a French car ever being, like, known for reliability?
No.
Well, let's see. Renault. Let's think about Renault for a minute.
Well, hey, wait a minute, hang on. You can't trash Renault too bad, okay? Because Peugeot is always still out there. All right, so
Oh yeah, they're even worse.
but I mean, like the French military, moving on from Renault, because Renault doesn't make the Tiger attack helicopter, from what I know, it's fairly decent. They also have Leclerc's for the armed forces, for the armor. They have a lot of great stuff. I would never rap on the French too much these days, because historically they've usually had a pretty decent military. The only times they didn't, that I could think of, would be during the Franco-Prussian War and the Second World War. And both of those was due to the incompetence of the government at that time and their ability to not, I guess you could say, adapt with the times and advance their army into the next modern age. And so I would largely say that the French have a pretty good military history, and if they're using something like the Crotal, especially still today, I think that it will probably do fairly good in Ukraine. But with that, it's now time for us to finally get into Ukraine. And this is the Ukraine war news. We finally made it there. And it's now time for us to start off with a little bit of news that we've gotten outside Chernihiv, where we saw that once again, the potential attack by Belarus is coming around the corner any day now. It'll happen. But before we get to that little clip and show you all that news, we're going to get to the polls, because we've actually had some really interesting polls up, and it appears that a lot of y'all have voted on them. Also, if y'all like, make sure to slam that like button and share this around. It is Christmas after all, and this is the season of giving, and if we can give anything to anyone, maybe we can give them this stream to watch. And so with that, let's get to the polls.
Right. So we have two polls to address, and the first one said, "How did you interpret Zelensky's speech today?" It looks like 78% said he was genuine and sincere. 10% said he seemed shaky but determined. 7% said he achieved the goal, no more or less, and 4% said unsure. Now, for me, I'm going to have to go with he was genuine and sincere, but I will have to admit he was a little bit shaky at first. And honestly, I can't blame him, because I can imagine it's probably pretty intimidating to be in front of the entire Congress of one of the most powerful countries in the world. As a leader from Ukraine, which is a independent country itself, it must be intimidating. And also, he does have a little bit of a language barrier, so that was another apprehension for him. So I would have to say he did pretty good, considering his language barrier. But one thing I will have to knock him for, though, is he did a really good job, but he should have worn a suit, in my opinion. What he wore is a little bit different, but it is what it is. But Enforcer, what say you?
I would have to say that he did fairly well. He did a lot better than I thought he would do, considering that we know that he speaks English, but, you know, it's not incredibly good English. It's not Operator Starsky levels of English, and he sets a pretty good standard for English speaking. But he still did incredibly well. I thought he did great. I do have to say, I think it would have been better if he wore a suit. But, you know, still, you can only wish for things. He still went in there, and he gave the speech, and I've got to, you know, sometimes what you see in Congress, you know, it can get worse, you know, sometimes, on occasion. Not all the time, it's a very rare exception, but sometimes I have seen people wearing worse. So, not that bad, all in all. I think it was pretty good, and I liked the speech. And actually, I would have to say, a lot of y'all were talking about the historical references there, and I thought it was really good, because he brought up a very important battle in World War II for the United States, the Battle of the Bulge, when the Germans actually looked like, for a minute, they could rebound from all of the failures that they had been having leading up to that point, and the United States held on. In fact, if you'll ever read about the Battle of the Bulge and what a lot of the units that were involved in the battle had to go through, it was a crazy battle, to be certain, and one that really showed the mettle of the American soldiers as a whole. But moving on from that, I thought that was a great connection that he made in between them and what the Ukrainians are doing now. And I think that he really made a good case for the Ukrainian nation as a whole to the United States. And maybe, just maybe, he may have turned around the opinions of some people who were a little skeptical about Ukraine in Congress. But we're not here to talk about that. That's getting down a rabbit hole that's political, so we can't really speak about that much. But, you know, funnily enough, Matthew watched the address today. I was still trying to recover from feeling terribly sick in the midday. Feel a lot better right now. I haven't felt bad during the whole stream. But Matthew was actually watching the address on multiple channels at the same time. He had it split screened. And I think, if I remember correctly, Matthew, you were telling me about something kind of odd that happened on one of them.
So yes, it honestly, like, I'll be totally frank, it pissed me off very badly I was watching both Fox and CNN at the same time on a split screen. And when Tucker Carlson's segment came on, he decided to cut off Zelensky's speech while he was talking and proceed to bash him and call him a bunch of names and a bunch of nasty things. Completely disrespectful, not the behavior of a proper journalist. And the small amount of respect I might have had left for Tucker Carlson went out the window. That guy's an absolute disgrace for a journalist. But I turned that channel off, and I will not be turning on that channel ever again to watch anything because that was disgraceful. But unfortunately, did you see it or did you not?
I didn't see it, but I don't doubt it. And going off of what Matthew's told me, because, you know, I got to be honest with you, every once in a while, just to see what I'm going up against, I have gone and checked out mainstream news here and there. Forgive me for I have sinned. But moving on from that, I got to say, that's really something. And, you know, I'll say this. If he had provided a little bit of commentary at the end of it, that would have been one thing. But to cut off someone mid-speech and then start talking over them and just start bashing them, I feel like that's somewhat disrespectful, especially when Zelensky has taken such a great risk. Imagine how many dangers that could have been faced, how many times that his life could have been in danger in the flight in between Ukraine to the United States. Not a short flight, mind you. That's nearly a 12 to 13-hour flight that he had to undergo to get all the way to the United States. And he could have been in a massive amount of danger during that entire time. And to think that once he got here, and to see that the entirety of the House of Representatives, and I'm assuming the Senate up in the gallery, gave Zelensky the largest amount of respect that we've ever seen. No one refused to clap. No one refused to give him a standing ovation. Everyone was incredibly polite to him. For someone to go and cut off his speech in the middle of it and start bashing him in the middle of a historic moment is very low. And, you know, and oddly enough, I remember a while ago, if I'm correct, Matthew, that the same guy was talking about another news network cutting off another person in American history during their speech and talking over them and bashing them, and then they did the same thing to someone today.
Yeah, isn't that ironic?
It is a little ironic, and that's one thing I got to remind y'all about. I'm not saying that to go down that direction. I'm sure many of y'all will think. I'm saying that to further this point. Mainstream news is full of it. And I wouldn't listen to it at all. I saw a lot of people in the middle of Zelensky's speech saying all kinds of stuff that was very politically charged. Matthew was down there with an axe just chopping off people's heads nearly in the live chat for saying things. But one thing I got to say is don't ever listen to the mainstream news and take what they say seriously. Don't ever. From Fox, CNN, ABC, MSNBC, CBS, whatever news network you go to, don't take it seriously. It's all a joke. These people are there to try and get some ratings. And that's a whole other rabbit hole, but I will go down that one. The news, if y'all don't understand, when you watch a news network and you go to the ad break and you watch someone get interrupted during the middle of an interview, oh, we got to go to an ad break. That's how a news company makes their money. And if they can get you on that channel to watch those ads, they're killing it. And so they're going to tell you anything to outrage you, anything to piss you off, no matter what side you're from, to try and get you on that show and on the air, so that way you'll sit there and watch those ads and they'll make a killing. That's exactly what they do. So I wouldn't put a lot of credit into it. That type of stuff. And also, another thing, when we talk about these people, like that guy right there, don't ever go and watch their channel just to see whatever is outraging you, because that also makes them money. When you're pissed off and you watch that channel and they go to an ad break and you wait for them to come back to see the other crazy crap they're saying, they're making money off of you sitting there watching their show. So if you don't like them, make sure not to watch their show. And if you don't like what that network did, imagine what all the other networks are doing in the opposite direction. Don't watch any of them. Go wander around on YouTube. But there's many. I gotta say, we're not the only channel. There's many great channels on YouTube that cover all kinds of news around the world in an unbiased way and in the best way possible. I would much recommend y'all to find y'all's news here on YouTube, regardless whether it's our channel or someone else's, than what's on the mainstream news, because they're just there to get y'all to watch the ads and make $1 off of y'all. People on YouTube like me, we actually have a genuine purpose and interest in what we report, so make sure to watch them instead, because the mainstream news has completely lost it. But anyways, with that, I hope that addressed that for a second, because Matthew told me, I was like, isn't that just something? Shows you what the mainstream news really is about. But anyways, with that, we are going to be moving on into the next one, but still pretty interesting.
All right, so we have our second poll, which said, do you agree that international security / order relies upon Ukraine winning the war. 86% said yes, Ukraine must win for order. 9% said not really, but we must support Ukraine, while 4% said unsure, and 1% said no, Ukraine isn't that important. So I gotta say, since this channel is based around Ukraine, I'm kind of shocked that even 1% said Ukraine isn't that important, because why would you be watching? But I would have to say that I think it is very important that Ukraine wins for international security. If Russia gets away with basically knocking off an independent country to the left of them, that's going to set a bad precedent, like we've been saying for a very long time. But Enforcer, what say you?
I would say that it definitely does set a bad precedent. Ukraine is incredibly important. Support has to continue going to it because, like I've laid out many times before, Ukraine is pretty much the bulwark of our eastern part of the NATO alliance down in the southeastern area. And if Ukraine becomes a Russian puppet or it's annexed by Russia, a whole bunch of NATO countries could be a threat that Putin has already outlined will become the next target if they succeed in Ukraine. And so it's very important to continue to support the Ukraine, because not only will it further our interests if they win, and will also get them as an ally, which could be another economic market for the United States to enter, and a chance of economic prosperity for Ukraine, among many other things. It's also very important to the rest of our allies in the situation we have right now. And so with that, I hope that does address that poll fairly well. I hope I gave my 2 bits. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and we're going to go ahead and address this poll since we have a little bit of content.
Hang on, I think we're coming back.
Stop the presses.
Yeah, stop. We're disconnected right now. Give it just a second. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so we were disconnected that entire time, so you might want to start that all over. I was trying to stop you the whole time. I guess you heard that late. I was going, wait, stop the presses, stop. But if you can start.
We're back?
Yes, we are. And also, I'm going to see why the dogs were barking right outside while you do that. So give me just a second.
So I was saying, I'm not sure how much y'all heard because of that lag. Don't you just love lag? But anyways, my opinion on the poll is of an old school way of thinking, even though I'm a young person. I think that wearing a suit does signify respect, and especially in an environment like Congress. Everybody wears a suit just out of respect. It's understood that's the way it's supposed to be. I understand that maybe Zelensky's style, and that's perfectly fine if some people think that, but I think it would have been better if he wore a suit personally. But it's not that big of a deal. But Enforcer, what say you if you're back?
I would say that, in my opinion, it's not that big of a deal, especially considering that, I've seen a lot worse. It's not the worst thing we've seen. I still think that, especially when you're coming to Congress, and of course, seeing that everyone in the House and also the Senate, I'm supposing, was wearing a suit and tie of some sort, or a dress or something similar, that it would just be somewhat of the formal dress code to wear one. But at the same time, we gotta understand that Zelensky has been in the middle of war and also is not really, I guess, one. All right, so we're gonna wait for this to come back on. Sorry, everyone, about the internet problems. It looks like our internet is hardly with us. I'm with y'all tonight. I'm not sick feeling that bad anymore, but it looks like our internet isn't here. So I think we're back. Let me check the OBS. We are back. So with that, I think that was our last poll, and we're getting on into the questions.
So yes, it is, and hopefully we are back. All right, can you confirm that we're back?
We are back. The stream is up, and everything looks fine on my end.
All right, so with that being said, we are moving on to our Super Chat questions. And I'm trying to stall here just to make sure we are back. Okay, we are back. So our first one goes to Celix the Fat, formerly known as Celix or Felix the Cat, actually, who puts in a $50 donation and says, through victories and losses, this has been a year of immense heartache. But Enforcer and Matt, your work has helped immensely in reporting the news and raising funds for amazing causes. Layers of steel every day, and also Merry Christmas.
And I gotta say, thank you so much for enjoying our coverage of this war. It's been one hell of a trip, 302 days. We're on our final stretch. Over these next 2 months, we'll be rounding out our time towards day 365. A full day of reporting on this war. Well, not a full day. What the hell am I talking about? It's been a full year of reporting on this war. And it's been unbelievable to think that we've been here this entire time, and a lot of y'all have stuck with us. And I gotta thank you so much once again for supporting this channel, enjoying our coverage of it, and helping us to do things that I never believed. I would never have believed a year ago, before this channel blew up, that we would have raised around $710,000 around the time of the end of this year. I would have never believed that. That's something that completely blows me away to think that we've been able to do it. It's been thanks to y'all. And so with that, I thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one. Thank you for being at least Spring Army soldier.
All right. And up next, we have a question from, let's see here. Actually, not a question, but a super chat donation from Hal Rose, who puts in a 50. And also, It Takes All Kinds for putting in a 30 as well. They don't leave comments, but we appreciate that support very much. And Enforcer, what say you?
And I got to thank you so much for support. Didn't throw in a comment, but of course, we appreciate it a whole load. It helps this channel keep on running behind the scenes. And without y'all, it would never be possible. So while you didn't throw in a comment, I gotta say thank you so much because it helps us out a massive deal. And so with that, we are on to the next one. But thank you so much once again.
Also, the corgis were just barking at Tucker Carlson at the door. He wanted his integrity back, but
no,
he's not going to get it.
He looked like a dog at the window. They're like, whoa!
Yeah, it freaked him out. They thought it was one of their own kind, but no, it was just Tucker.
He sat there and said at the window, Matthew, he said, "Are you a corgi?" And then did that face, and they're like, whoa! It just freaked out.
Right.
But anyways, on to the next one.
Yes, and this is our last one of the first segment, and this one goes to Chris Mack, who puts in a $20 donation and says, "It's been a while since I've been able to support you two and your hard work. Much appreciated, and Merry Christmas, LSA, and Slava Ukraine."
Hey, thank you so much for the support, and it's perfectly fine. It may have been a while, but any support helps, and whenever you can give it, it means a whole load to us, and I got to thank you so much once again, and thank you so much for watching this channel a whole load. I know that you haven't been on here a lot, at least live, but I'm sure that you've been watching in the background and just enjoying it after it's going live, and I got to thank you so much for enjoying this the entire time. It means a lot to me that a lot of people like to hear our news coverage of the war, and of course, without y'all, like I always say this, guys, it wouldn't be possible without you. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. Maybe we'll put that towards the pizza fund. I don't know. But with that, we are on to the next one. Well, actually, I think that was the last one.
That was it.
and so with that, it's now time for us to get to the news in the north about the potential invasion from Belarus. Of course, I gotta say, it's something. It's really something. Of course, courtesy to Radio Free Europe for providing us with this footage and this information. And so, here's the video. Let me get it up to 540. We all know that this thing loves to load in at 240. It loves its pixels. This thing goes, "Hey ma, can I get more pixels, huh?" Anyways, here you go. If it loads now. I have a feeling our OBS is disconnecting and having an aneurysm of some sort. Let's see if I can skip forward a little bit. Oh? No? No, you will.
It got crispy, though.
It got crispy. It did get crispy like the crispy kernel, but it's not playing. Come on now. Let me refresh the page. Maybe that'll fix it. There we go. But it appears that high graphics will make the computer die. Now it popped the high graphics.
Понял, да? Готов следующий. Тут на Волині ближче воно буде працювати як ближній бой. Тому що, як правило, вони не підуть лісами, бо там дуже сильно болота, бронетехніка не піде. Колони будуть йти по дорогах. Тобто асфальтованих дороги, по яким можна...
Looks like we're once again getting disconnected. Let me go and check. We are. So,
Damn.
You know, I'm blitzing itself, so let's give it a second, and we'll see if it comes back. And it looks like it's back now. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm really sorry. I know that no one likes that during their news, and we're sorry about that. We can't really control it, so don't attack us about it. I know someone's about to, so here's the rest of the video.
Проїхати там БТРом, БМПшкою, ну, неважливо, танком навіть. Тому їх треба стримувати, це вибирати точку, вставити одне орудія, яке буде робити вистріл, брати вогонь на себе, а інші там засоби, неважливо, там інлави, джевеліни, вони будуть працювати закриті з боку, тому що якщо зупиниться перша машина, колона, тому можна буде довбати всю колону.
Для їх є велика перешкода – це річка Дніпро. Якби через неї пройти дуже важко. Але слід враховувати погодні умови. Стає лід, тому провокацію можна з будь-якого боку.
Man, this guy, I gotta tell you, man, I was looking at this guy here. I mean, like, with that helmet, the goggles and everything, I was like, man, is this guy, like, fighting in Ukraine, or is he about to be in the Gulf War? I was like, he's kitted. Like, this is pretty good kit.
He really is.
Yeah. The great
Also, you're
shot.
lagging like crazy too.
Oh, well, that's great to know.
Боку очікувати. На даний час є дуже багато сучасного обладнання, тобто ми це теж враховуємо.
Yes, we know. Oh, yes. The glorious BMP. And oh, so thank you so much, Panama Floor. We'll get to that in the question segment at the end, but I always love to watch them doing their training exercises, because back in the day, this actually used to invoke fear around the world, Matthew. People would be like, oh god, it's the scary Russians, they're gonna kill us all. And now we know it's like, that thing will blow up with a 50
Isn't it funny
round.
how things change? Like,
Yeah.
what was it, the third or fifth largest military in the world goes down to being poo-poo in like a matter of months?
Yeah, it's like these things don't invoke fear anymore for anyone. We just look at them, we're like, yeah, they'll be killed in 5 minutes once it reaches the front line. It's not going to even be a big deal. It's going to be like a blip on the radar. A whole entire, just put this in perspective. You're looking at 4 armored personnel carriers and about 4 main battle tanks down here, all in one clip. Actually, a 5th one back here. That many tanks are destroyed in Ukraine a day, and about 4 times the number of APCs that you see here on frame are destroyed per day in Ukraine. That's how small of a blip this amount of armored vehicles is. Not even scary anymore. It's just really like, it's just the like the third world countries going through their military exercises, I guess, again. And here's Zelensky in Bakhmut the other day.
Захист кордону, як з Росією, так і з Білоруссю, це теж постійний пріоритет. Готуємось до усіх можливих оборонних сценаріїв. Хто би до чого не схиляв Мінськ, це їм так само не допоможе, як і всі інші хворі ідеї у цій війні проти України і українців.
Holy moly.
Hey.
That was 30 seconds behind when I said it. I was like, dang.
It's the lag.
But with that, courtesy to Radio Free Europe for providing such good footage, and hopefully that gave you all a better idea of what the Ukrainians are looking at in the northern area. I still don't believe the Belarusians will ever attack, but who knows. Moving on into location unknowns, and starting off with our first clip here, we can see that we've actually included an intercepted phone call today before we get to this. A intercepted phone call had a soldier on it talking to his mom, and he explained that 20 of their own guys were killed by one of their own tanks. So with that, here's the video. And let me unmute this for y'all real quick, so that way y'all can get the maximum viewing pleasure.
Привет, зайка. Ну, наконец-то вспомнила о маме. Как дела?
Ну чё, я ж тут на войне все-таки не пионер в лагере.
Не понимаю, сынок. Ну, что нового-то у тебя там?
Пацанов пошли нормально.
Чего,
They got
пацанов?
chopped up,
А
Matthew.
вот приехали с Ярославля, 3-й батальон.
Ну, в смысле, к вам пополнение, вернее?
Да. И 20 человек было.
Да ты что? Ты-то не ранен? Все нормально?
Не царапинки вообще.
Господи, помилуй.
Стою тут на хохлов смотрю, в ту сторону.
Holes.
Don't say that. That's a slur against Ukrainians.
Oh.
Наш танк ебанул. 2 раза выстрелил, блядь, и 20 пацанов нахуй. Говорю, блядь, тут командование, каких поймешь какое, блядь, твари, блядь.
Где?
Своих же убивают.
Урода, блядь, недоделанные, господи.
Говорю, потери
Ну, ладно,
больше, блядь, своих, чем от хохлов, блядь.
Ясно. Лёш, ну ты скажи, у тебя потом желание-то будет еще продолжать?
Мам, не об этом сейчас. Я же тоже теперь командир.
Ну, я все это слышала, только ты это, веди себя там,
Да,
попали,
ничего,
не лихач, не лихач.
Тут все серьезно, мам, ты что?
Да, потому что это не шутки. Вот что они творят, теперь уже по нашим, по российским городам хуят.
Well, it's great to know. In the middle of him.
Why was the mother asking questions like an interrogator or something?
Well, probably because they got a body double for his mom on the phone. They're like trying to see what he'll give. Oh, what's this? What's that? But anyways, it's interesting to see that apparently the Russians are still having friendly fire incidents this late into the war, and it looks like a whole 20 guys, you know, how do we say it, Matthew? Had an explosive incident.
They got chopped up.
They got chopped up like Freddy Krueger. But anyways, with that, that's the end of the video. And a pretty interesting one to say the least. Moving on to the next bit of Location Unknown news, we can see some Ukrainian soldiers engaging in mortal combat. Of course, we always say that the Russians are fighting each other, but the Ukrainians really fight each other. I mean, like, they're going for blood here. So let me show you all this. Can't play the music, it's Mortal Kombat. Copyrighted to all hell and back. Don't ask me why it is. But we can see here, I think they're about to kill each other. These guys are gamers, Matthew. Real gamers.
One's hitting the gritty, the other one's hitting the two-step.
Oh, an uppercut. And with that, that's the end of the video. But still, pretty neat to see that those Ukrainian soldiers are engaged in some mortal combat. And of course, it's terrible to see that Ukrainian morale is so high that they're now resorting to beating each other to death. And so with that, we're moving on from that and into the Russian losses, because, you know, it wouldn't be a day without knowing that tomorrow the Russians will now have surpassed 100,000 killed. They've also lost another 5 armored personnel carriers, another 7 tanks, meaning that they've now lost 3,000 tanks total today. They've also lost another 12 artillery pieces, 9 fuel trucks, well, 9 supply trucks, 8 drones, 2 MLRSs, a plane, a helicopter, and a special equipment vehicle. 510 troops, 5 APCs, 9 vehicles and fuel trucks, 7 T-72s. But anyways, they're still losing.
One skidster loader. They keep losing them.
One skidster loader. Let's see. I can't even do a Mike Tyson. I can't switch from Sam Elliott to Mike Tyson in like a split second, but I was going to do it. Believe me, guys. Trust me. I was going to do it. But still, they're losing a massive amount of troops, decent amount of equipment. Christmas is not going to be like it was last year for the Russians. So with that, we're now moving on from the casualty report and on to our next bit, where we can actually see that the Russians showed us what it looks like inside of a pantsier. So, here's the video. This looks like something that you would pull up on like a cheap $30 video game. That's not a cheap game, but that's like something you would get out of it right there.
Огонь по команде.
Oh, look at that. Got a little worm going there. Oh, and they're firing? Oh. They're firing again?
They got the Mad Hornet's nest in the background.
It's a Fred Flintstone vehicle, man. The Hornets are the computer, and they're sitting there, boy, have I had to buzz anymore.
Yeah.
Все, гони, у нас нету нихуя.
That's Hornets on the radar.
Actually, that's a guy making his matcha tea smoothie back there with a blender. Yang, yang, yang.
Got to be healthy, comrade.
We got to be healthy. I hate the West. Quick, let me go and get this banana and put it in here. An entirely Western invention.
Да не так сильно, ёбаный рот, блядь, а! Сейчас перевернемся, стой, блядь!
Now you hear one of them apparently has snapped. He's now cussing like a sailor. Ничего брод, блядь, Now it sounds like someone's hitting the gas.
Блядь! Чё такое? Едь! Стёпа, езжай, ёбаный рот.
Стёпа, езжай.
Что такое, блядь?
Bled. Why
Назад.
in the world is it whenever Russians say bled, it sounds like they're about to turn into Count the Dracula. Sit there, bled, wanna bled, Like, why in the world do they always say it the same way? You know?
Назад, давай, заднюю. Блядь.
Bled.
Так, стоп, не торопись, осколки, нормально.
And then he, Skolke. Like, this guy is literally turning into the Boeing auto, like, pilot thing, you know, whip, stall, pull up, terrain. But he's turning into Russian. He's, let's go. Like, he's just going and saying the same thing 10 times over. But anyways, that's the end of that video, and you can see right there, they are having a rough time altogether running this pants here. It sounds like they're pretty stressed out, and also I would be very stressed out if I ended up playing Pong in the middle of a anti-aircraft vehicle. If I had Pong in front of me like these guys do, I too would probably be stressed out. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, freaking out like they are. But anyways, with that, we're moving on to the next bit of news, our last bit of location unknown news, where we saw a attack. So with that, here's the video. Hi, Mars. That hardly even picked up, Matthew. That sounded like some kind of demon. You sounded like, hi, Mars.
Ha, Mars.
And so here's the clip. Oh, that's copyrighted. I know. But we can see that convoy blowing up.
They got chopped up.
Call him the slasher, because he be giving them the hasher. But anyways, that's the end of the video. And once again, we can see the HIMARS are actually being used as frontline artillery now due to the amount of ammunition and the kind that they have. So with that, we're going to be moving on from our location unknown news and on over to Kharkiv. And to take this from a more funny and into a little bit more of a serious note, of course, the defense of Ukraine comes at a price. And of course, the price in the West is measured in dollars and equipment. But in Ukraine, the cost is measured in lives. And I'm going to show you all real quick the graveyard of the 79th Brigade, which is somewhere in the area of the Kharkiv Oblast. This is a small video, but once again showing you that this defense of their nation has not come at an easy price sometimes. And while they inflicted massive amount of casualties onto the Russians, that does not mean that they also sometimes pay a very high price to defend these areas. Of course, Bakhmut has turned into a meat grinder for almost everyone involved, and every once in a while I always have to remind everyone that the Ukrainians do lose soldiers, and that there should be some respect for these guys as well, because not everyone in Ukraine is going to be Rambo, and not everyone is going to live until the end of this war. Some of these guys are fighting for an ideal that they'll never be able to see, because they'll die before this war ever ends, like these guys did. But they still believed in the cause of the defense of Ukraine, and of course, they're making sure that by their deaths, they'll ensure that the nation remains free. And I think that's a very poetic thing to think about, and also it's a very comforting idea to think that for every Ukrainian flag that flies over one of these graves, there's about 4 or 5 Russian flags flying over graves of Russian soldiers that the 79th Brigade was able to take out. And so with that, we're going to be moving on from that little graveyard, and of course a huge respect to the Ukrainian soldiers who lie there now. And we're now going to be moving back down to the front lines and into the areas of Svatove, where today we saw a 264 Bulat on the front lines. These things went into service in 2005, and not only were they rolling, they shoot. You see it rolling up? And now we can see that the video is paused. You see it's actually shooting and moving. Moving and shooting and scooting. Firing again.
Последний осколок и уходим. Все, уходим, белый, уходим.
Holy moly. Talk about rolling coal. This thing put it in reverse, and that thing rolled coal so thick that even the Germans are pissed. Golly, look at that.
How dare you?
How dare you? Greta Thunberg is going to show
Cringe.
up. Greta Thunberg is going to show up here real quick and give these guys a lecture for that. That is if that happened in the United States, the EPA people would be rolling over in their offices right now. The EPA people would be like so furious and boiling over that they could actually generate all the clean energy needed for the U.S. power grid from that right there. That was actually pretty wild to see. We see that all the time with Russian tanks, rarely with the Ukrainian tanks, but it looks like after it got that one puff out, it was okay. Kind of like Joe Rogan on his show after he always gets that puff. And I'm sure here comes the Joe Rogan comment.
Oh, no.
Oh, I hate it. Oh, it did it again. It appears that every time they hit that reverse, that thing could be smoking.
I don't think they're doing something right. It sounds like they're maxing the engine out. Something's not being done right. They're hitting the rev limiter.
Man, that thing sounds like a rally car. Like, listen to that
Somebody's
thing.
not shifting.
One. I mean, it doesn't sound that bad, though. It doesn't sound that bad. It sounds really good, but...
Samir, you're breaking the tank.
Vadim, you're breaking the tank. Shut up. Good Lord. I mean, that guy is revving that thing.
They're gonna need a new clutch.
Oh, man. Oh, man, someone actually said, Mandy, in the live chat, Dab Bong Sippy Cup said, vape. What did he say? Vape Nation. Oh, God. Don't even remind me of the vapes. That was terrible to get through in high school. I don't even want to live through those horrors. But with that was a T-64 Balad operating in the northeastern area. While it was rolling some coal, it was also shooting some coal downrange at the Russians. And I think they gotten on the naughty list this year, and the Ukrainians just struck them off the list. And so with that, we're going to be moving on from the area of Svatove and on down towards the area of Bakhmut. And of course, it's time to get into somewhat more serious news because the battles down here have been raging like they have been for many days now. And going to the frontline news at Bakhmut, so you're going to be happy to see this. This is today, the 21st. We go back to the 20th. We go back to the 19th. You'll notice something. When you go to the 21st, the Ukrainians have taken a little bit of ground again. And the Russians have made no ground anywhere again. Again, it's been 48 hours. No ground. In fact, it's been 72 hours since we ever covered the proper news on the Bakhmut area, and they have not made a single inch of ground. That's how well the Ukrainian soldiers are holding, and that's how good their defenses are, is that they're able to stop the Russian line practically for half a week without the Russians being able to do anything and still taking on a decent amount of casualties. Once again, the chicken tender still holds. The Ukrainians still hold the chicken tender, at least the part that dominates both highways. So right now, the Russians cannot advance any further than they are right now. They're probably waiting on the suicidal assaults on the chicken tender to conclude, maybe even capture it, and then they'll be able to advance further into the town, and then we'll see the next phase of the battle, which will occur on the western side of Bakhmut and near these ridgelines as well. And so with that, we're going to be getting into the videos that we saw today, and our first one was actually pretty insane. This is some of the footage taken today of the battle in Bakhmut. You see him firing his AK. Hear a large firefight going on, smoke permeating across the field.
Damn.
Once again, it's pure hell on earth and raw chaos.
That guy sure was calm.
Yeah, they are. They're like, it's raining today, isn't it? No, it's just a light drizzle.
He turned around and looked at something on the ground like, was that a rock? Like there's like gunfire going off everywhere.
He's like, oh, look, a blue rock. Now you see him, man, this guy's moving. Excuse me, sir, did you do parkour before the war? Because that was impressive. He didn't even sprain his ankle. He would took off across that rubble. He was so fast, the rubble couldn't even shift. Like, that guy is a speedy man. That's probably why the Russians are having such a hard time pushing through the town, because this man's like the Russians are living in Tarkov. This man is living in, like, Call of Duty with the way he's moving around. Goodness. And he's now gotten up to what appears to be the second floor of the building, and now he's going to start firing down onto the Russians. Goodness me, this man isn't even an artillery piece, but he's shooting and scooting. He's taking it to him, and I got to give a lot of credit to this guy. He's got apparently he's got unlimited stamina to just keep on running around everywhere and doing this kind of stuff. You got to give him a lot of credit for it too, because a lot of soldiers, they just sit idly. Even a lot of Ukrainian soldiers, they get in a firefight, they sit idly, and even in towns. This guy is running from building to building like he's trying to win a game or something like that. So with that's the end of the video. Once again, you got to give a huge credit to the Ukrainian soldiers out there. They make this stuff look easy. And you've got to once again put it into perspective. A war is terrifying, it's brutal, and it's easy to die in. And this guy is making it look like he's invincible. And so with that, we're going to be moving on into the next bit of news from Bakhmut, a little bit further back inside the town, where we saw our boy from Bakhmut, I guess we're going to call him now. Not the boy of Bakhmut, but our boy from Bakhmut, giving us an update on the war and what the battle's looking like today. And so, here's the video. Also, he's gotten a new mask.
А ці запорібрики придумали там старі нові тактики, то йшли штурмувати малими групами. Тоді по 30-40 осіб. Потім знову малими штурмовими групами йдуть. Артилерія при підтримці артилерії мінометів добігають там до позиції. Ці суїцидальні атаки намагаються заскочити в окопи. Але на всю їхню тактику є контртактика. Козаки, які стоять на нулях у нас, теж швидко вчаться на всі їхні зміни. Тому шансів у них небагато. Ворог несе такі втрати, що я не знаю, що у них там йде процес чи утилізації цих товаришів. Ну, чи яка мета того, якась маніакальна ідея захватити Бахмут. Ну, це просто якийсь треш. Друзі, по нашій конгломерації всі рубежі тримаються, всі на своїх позиціях, всі працюють. Сили і засоби є. Не хвилюйтеся. Бахмут – це Україна. Бахмут стоїть. Бахмут тримається. Тримаємо стрій, друзі. Віримо Збройним силам. Слава нації. Смерть ворогам.
What do you say? I don't know, but that's the end of that little clip right there. And of course, Bakhmut still holds and is still defending the line. And well, of course, you got to give a lot of credit because this guy didn't just say it. It's fact. The Ukrainians are holding every single part of that Bakhmut front line, and it's pretty wild to see that they have. For 72 hours, the front lines have not changed at all, and if they have, they're in Ukraine's favor. And so it's looking like they're doing a really good job, and the Russians are now running into a straight-up brick wall. They're not even able to make ground as of the past 3 days. So with that, we're now moving into our next clip, where we can see Christmas in Bakhmut. Christmas, as they say. And so here's a video, of course, courtesy of Radio Free Europe, showing us what the Ukrainian soldiers are also doing in their free time to try and help out the people who are still there in Bakhmut.
Звернулись люди з проханням їх допомогти їм виїхати, евакуюватись. Потім у нас в планах заїхати до дівчинки, яка мешкає зі своєю родиною в підвалі в Бахмуті.
Вот этот подъезд, да? Да. На месте, да?
Так, а где тут детки живут?
Привет.
Так, девочка, как тебя зовут? Еще раз. Анечка. Анечка, какой сегодня праздник?
День Святого Николая.
Молодец.
И попросил он нас тебе передать. Ну какая же девочка без куколки? Глянь какая.
Ого. Все, принцесса.
Принцесса. Вот ближе к центральной, насколько я знаю, в любое время дня и ночи.
Oh, look at that cat. Isn't that cute?
Як можна на це дивитися? От коли діти знаходяться у підвалі, не бачать світла і жодного якогось там позитиву, взагалі. Це ж не одна ця дівчинка, котра в Бахмуті живе у підвалі. Дітей ще багато.
Спасибо. Тяжелая. Спасибо вам. Вы тут сами живете? Да.
Да, это окраина Бахмута. Вот заканчивается улица и конец. Это одна из самых опасных улиц. Находиться на этом месте долго нельзя, поэтому полицейские из экипажа «Белые ангелы» передали медикаменты. И сейчас надо уже быстро выезжать.
Выехали раз в район пожарной части. И не доезжая, тоже был вперед мины. Пробили 2 колеса, там еле уехали. Нормально, все живы-здоровы.
Мальчик, бабушка! Мальчик, бабушка!
Давайте, побыстрее, как дела? Не спешите, все нормально. Сейчас мы вас...
Man, Granny here, she's got the drip, Matthew. She's got like the whole like coat and everything. I like that's a good coat, not gonna lie. Like she
That's
came,
a nice coat.
Yeah, she came strolling out to the street like a pimp with a red coat and like the white trim. Like that's actually pretty high end.
Сейчас мы вас... Да.
Вы готовы?
Ой, готовы. Все, сейчас. Давай.
Все окей? Спокойно. Вот он, Бахмут. Наверное, самое страшное место на фронте. Атмосфера, конечно, такая ужасающая. Страх витает в воздухе, все побито, но люди здесь живут.
Дуже багато поранених, медиків в нас немає, але ми вже займаємося тут і перев'язками. Ну, вже дуже страшно.
I like the graffiti at the end of the video, Matthew. It said Bakhmut - Ukrainian. Like I like that. That's some good graffiti.
Pretty
That's
straightforward.
Yeah, that's the only graffiti I'm a real big fan of in the middle of the city. And still, at the end of it all, it's good to see that the police, who've now turned into a light infantry force, are helping out the best they can and trying to keep the spirits high in the town of all the people who remain there while the fight rages on just a mile away in the other side of town, where the Ukrainians are still holding back the Russian forces for so long at this point. With that, we're now going to be moving to our last bit of news, where we can see the 24th Brigade in action in the Bakhmut area as well. Here's some artillery come in. You know, I hate it because there's copyrighted music here. You know, we gotta mute it. I wish I could let y'all hear the sounds of the actual war and what's going on out there, but sadly I can't. We can see them moving through a field. Sounds like they may have come under fire for a second. We can see them now moving out again. Looks like they're moving up to a position somewhere near a field. This may be the very outskirts of town. You see that they're now laying on the ground. Or this man's crouching through the shrubbery. Oh, wait a minute. This is the lead up to that video we saw a while ago of the Ukrainians going over the top. Oh, that's actually crazy to see. And that's how they moved up to that position to then go over the top and counterattack. And so with that, we are going to be moving on out of the Bakhmut news. And once again, they hold the line there. We're going to be moving down to Kurtamivka, where we saw the battle around Bakhmut in a way. It's still part of the Bakhmut front, but it's not in Bakhmut town. And so here's the video. Of course, once again, courtesy of Radio Free Europe, who provides a decent amount of good videos. If y'all don't know of a second source that y'all like to see, make sure to go check them out, because every once in a while, we always riff on the obvious statements they make, but beyond sometimes the obvious statements they make, they're a great news source, and I would highly recommend it if y'all were looking for a second one.
Слышите, как громыхает? Это так сейчас звучит Бахмут.
Мы движемся к позициям 10-й горно-штурмовой бригады ВСУ, которые обороняют это направление.
Важка ситуація. Наступають кожного дня. Їхні підрозділи постійно поповнюються людьми, людською силою. Артилерія досить так інтенсивно працює і просуваються потрохи, але наші підрозділи стримують.
О тактике, которую российские войска практикуют в последнее время, нам уже рассказывали. Группа из 10-15 человек пытается незаметно подобраться к позициям украинских войск и быстро вступить в ближний бой. Если отряд замечают на подступах, его разбивает украинская артиллерия.
Вот и сейчас.
I like that. Okay, that was real. All right, he wasn't one of those goofy reporters that tried to start off their monologue before the shot and then freak out when it happens. Like, hi, I'm so and so. Welcome to Bakhmut. Like, he sat there and just waited for it to fire, and then he started the monologue. That's a way better way to do that.
Вот и сейчас начинается очередная волна атаки российской артиллеристы.
Holy
Oh wow,
moly.
thank you, SAS.
Thank you, SAS. Special Air Service.
Or SAS. Yes, SAS.
На украинских позициях.
This man is like, I will not sacrifice my hearing in the future for this clip. Like, as soon as he heard them getting done loading, he immediately put his fingers over his ears again.
Украинских позициях.
Also, in case you didn't know this, y'all might want to know this as an interesting fact. I was actually told when working a cannon for a reenacting event that you had to kind of keep your mouth open. You cannot keep your mouth closed. The reason being is that when this thing fires and you keep your mouth closed, the pressure is strong enough that if your mouth is closed, the pressure will exit out of your head through your ears, and so it'll blow your eardrums out. So you want to keep your mouth a little bit open when these things are firing nearby, or, you know, you might lose your hearing.
Наші хлопці тримають оборону і на деяких напрямках відбивають території, які були тимчасово окуповані. Важко, але хлопці-герої стоять, не дивлячись на мороз, болото.
После неудавшейся атаки российские командиры отправляют на штурм новый отряд.
Бої жорстокі, я скину вам відео, там де вони просто по своїм трупам лізуть. Там, де сидить парень в окопі.
Но боятся отступить.
Ну, вони як зазомбовані, лізуть і лізуть, його підстрелили, він далі лізуть. Перед ним вбили його товариш, там голову рознесло, він далі лізе. Ну, тобто, розумієте, така ситуація така, що їх там залякали смертю. Вони або помруть тут, або помруть там. Ми розмовляли з військовополоненими, які розповідали то, що у них розстріл – це нормально. Їх розстрілюють привселюдно, їх виводять, зачитують, типа, що вони дезертири і такі-то нехороші хлопці, і їх привселюдно просто розстрілюють по 2, по 3 чоловіка. Перед строєм, навіть якщо мав піддати автомат, то це мавпа з автоматом.
Oh my god, a roast! He's like, even if you give a gun to a monkey, it'll be an armed monkey. You must have watched that video, Matthew, from, I don't know where it was like Central Africa, where they gave the, like, the chimpanzee an AK, and it shot at the guys, you know, and then they ran
Oh,
off.
yeah, that CGI, like, video.
Yeah, I think he may have watched it. He's like, even if you give a gun to a monkey, it'll be an armed monkey. Man, this guy just roasted the Russian army. He's like, you know, they may be stupid, but, you know, you give them a gun, they're stupid people with guns.
Автомат, то це мавпа з автоматом. І якщо їх багато, це все одно проблема велика. Проти нас стоїть, ну, сильний ворог, але ми сильніші. Ми його виженемо.
And with that, that's the end of the video. Once again, courtesy of Radio Free Europe that showed us what was going on in the Kurdyivka area of the Bakhmut front as well. Moving on further down and into the Donetsk area, we also saw a Ukrainian tank operating with drone support. This time, the drone wasn't eyeballing this tank to try and get it destroyed. It was actually eyeballing the tank to help it out on where to fire, which was very interesting because this is one of the first recorded instances where we've seen that a Ukrainian drone was used to support a Ukrainian tank on the ground below it. We can see the Ukrainian tank rolling forward. It's kind of weird because you expect the tank to explode any second now, but it's actually going to be blowing up everything else.
Уебать. Это было отлично.
Зверь.
Это было отлично.
Now see the tank stopping. And it appears the drone's now looking out into the distance.
Igor!
Igor! That must be the tank commander.
Отлично, отлично. Скажи ему супер, блядь. Игорь! Wow, Igor!
This guy.
this guy, man, he is hyping up that tank commander. He's like, Igor, hitting another 10 out of 10.
I like the energy.
Еще право чуть-чуть.
I'm waiting for it again. Come on, where's shot number 4?
Блядь, чуть-чуть.
Oh, that one wasn't good enough.
Блядь.
That one wasn't good enough either.
Yes! 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 Молодец, блядь! Сука! Слава Украине! Ах, как хорошо!
Игорь!
Блядь, красавчики, пацаны, бля, вы крутые, нахуй, блядь.
Він місяць сидів там, а возвращається со стволом, блядь. Вообще, блядь. Вообще красавчик, нахуй.
Now the tank is leaving the field after doing its job.
Блин, наши танкисты найкращі у світі. Вот это отработал, блин. Не то, что некоторые.
Качественного учебника давать для первой пары.
It literally like clipped back for a second to the old clip. He's like, Egon again.
Найкращий.
Egon! I like that guy. Like, he was gassing up that tank and the tank commander so freaking well. Like, every time he hit a shot, he's like, Egon!
Let's hear it one more time.
We'll go back to one of the first shots that they landed. That was probably the best one. Wait. We gotta get past the stop motion picture here. Right here.
О, бля! Игорь!
I love it.
I love it.
A commentary.
Oh man, I love that. This is my kind of guy right here. Like every time, like this is the kind of guy you want to play video games with, because if you or do anything with, because if you did anything cool, he's like, Igor.
I agree with the people in the chat. We need to add this to the intro somehow.
Yes. We need to, like, sit there, Matthew, and sit there. The Lee Spring Army sends its regards. The piece fires, and then you see that explosion. You just hear him going, Eagle! And then the anthem starts.
That actually would, that would be fire, actually.
Yeah, man, this is fire. But anyways, we're going to be moving on from this little clip. Great to see. And we're going to be moving further down the line into the area of Marinka, where we saw the Ukrainians once again engaging in drone warfare, courtesy of the Ukrainian Border Guards unit. Now, I gotta mute that. You all already know the drill. We're about to see them fly off the little Mavic. It's scooting when you see some Russians. An MTLB and a Euro 4320, it seems. I'm gonna have to harness the power of the last guy because he's about to up me one. Come on, man. Hit him! Hit him! You just line it up and hit him! Come on, there's a tank, kill it. Fire. Yeah, Igor. And it looks like that was a solid shot right onto the tank, honestly. And now they're hitting the MTLB and the Euro 4320. Igor. Oh man, honestly, man, like that reminded me for a second of what was her name? What was her name from Seinfeld? Elisa Louis-Dreyfus. Who did she play, Matthew? Elaine, yeah. Remember when she was high on the painkillers and she said there,
"Oh yeah,
Stella." That's literally what that guy was doing. He's like, Igor. But anyways, that's the end of that clip. Once again, nice to see that the drones are being used to a great extent to make sure the Russian forces get hit incredibly well. Of course, nothing much has happened in the Donetsk area beyond that, from what we can tell by video sources. But moving on down into Mariupol, we have seen what has been quite interesting, to say the least. To summarize what y'all are about to see, some Russian barracks were obliterated today by the Partisans in Mariupol. Very nice to see. So let's watch this place get disintegrated. I had to find this clip from another YouTube channel. I saw it on Reddit today, watched it. It was pretty interesting. We're going to have to mute their commentary because we're only here to comment on the video that we're seeing here. And we can see down the street a little bit of a yellowish tint. You can, of course, see some buildings down the length. And it appears that there's some smoke rising from the building. Now, the story that we've gotten is that that's a barracks for some Russian forces stationed in the area, and partisans came by and obliterated the place with a bomb. So we don't know how many of them were taken out, but we do know that it must have been a pretty decent amount. And hopefully, the citizens of Mariupol will rejoice in that information. Moving on out of Mariupol, however, and getting on into some of our last news for the night, actually. In fact, considering that we already covered the speech from Zelensky, this is our second to last bit of news before we get to Lviv. We're going to end it on a high note in Lviv, but we got to get to a bit of a low note here for a second, and this is something that was pretty tough to see. And of course, a while ago, we saw that it was reported that there was actually a child torture chamber found in the basement of one of the administrative buildings of the city of Kherson. And it actually seems that Radio Free Europe was able to find one of the survivors, one of the kids that survived this torture chamber, and he recounted the story of how they ended up in the torture chamber and what happened to them down there along with everyone else. And so here's the video of this poor kid. His name is Vitaly, and so here's his story.
Кинули і руки зав'язали затяжками. Привезли нас в підвал якийсь. Нас там аж 13 чоловік було. Ми були вдома, люди там допомогти. В неї там якраз нога, і вона нас послала на трасу за таблетками. Ну, ми пішли до врача. Ми, Льоша і я. Ми пішли на трасу. Ну, він, Льоша, взяв телефон, а там якраз переписка з ВСУ. Там зупинилась машина, русські. Спросили, у вас телефон є? Кажу, в мене немає, а в тебе? Да, є. І він дає. І там якраз переписка висвічується. І нас якраз подобрали. Я другий. Там грають русську рулетку, током б'ють, вішають на решетки. Коли в чоловіка інфаркт і висить на решетки, його просто знімають, закидують в камеру. Захочеш виживеш, захочеш не виживеш. Вони виводили коридорчики і там били вже.
Ти чув щось?
Да.
Що чув?
Де ти оружие ховаєш, в тебе скільки оружия, то б'ють током, питають те же саме. З ким ти переписувався, за що переписувався.
Now that's the end of the video, but once again, proof of what the Russians have been doing, not only to adults, citizens of Ukraine that are in occupied territory, but also children as well. And hopefully the sick people who did this to these kids can be found and hopefully taken out right there. And so with that, we're going to be moving on out of the city of Kherson and on into the town of Lviv to end this on a little bit more of a high note than that very unfortunate story, where we can see that a wounded Ukrainian soldier met his family in a train station at Lviv. And so to end on this high note, here's the video. You see him hugging his daughter in the middle of the snowy train station in Lviv. And I hope that that video was a high note to end on. It's great to see that soldiers who've been fighting and sometimes getting wounded like this man are able to return home and meet their family again. Many people aren't that lucky, but it's always good to see a nice little story wrap up with a little bow like this every once in a while in the war. And so with that, that's the end of our news for tonight, believe it or not. We've already covered the speech of President Zelensky earlier on in stream, and I thank you all so much once again for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to slam that subscribe button. It's just like slam it, like a student. Slam it like Zelensky with that speech today. Absolutely dunk it. And also, make sure to like this channel as well. It means a lot to us for people to subscribe and like. It helps this channel to keep on running. It helps the Lee Spring Army and the Enforcer channel to grow. And it also allows us to spread the word about our fundraisers. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to run this one this week. But rest assured, we will have one in one form or another. And so with that, we're now going to be moving on from the news segment and on into the question segment. We're going to answer all of the super chats that have been sent in and as many live chats as possible. And also get to our polls. And so with that, Matthew, what do we got?
All right. So first up, we only have one poll because it was kind of a quick end to the news segment there. But the one poll that we have says, do you think Zelensky is back in Ukraine by now? 45% said yes, he's going back or is back. 29% said not sure, and 25% said no, he might still be in the USA. And I'm going to have to say not sure because I was trying to do some research and there's really no evidence at all to indicate that he's in Ukraine or not. So Enforcer, what say you?
I would say he's probably back in Ukraine by this point. or he's on his way. We do know that he is not spending any time in the United States beyond the visit to the president and the speech in Congress, and so he is probably getting on his way back right now, or he is on his way back, but he's probably not in Ukraine yet. And so with that, I hope that does address that poll fairly well, and we don't have another one. So with that, let's get on into the questions.
All right, so moving into our super chat questions. Up first, we have that very generous $170 donation from SAS76, who says, "Great job, boys, and have an awesome Christmas. Please check out our new delivery to Ukraine next year, the Hawkeye from Bendigo, Victoria, Australia, and cheers, boys. And thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to you, too."
And thank you so much for the support, SAS76. Really cool name, I like it. Were you in the SAS by chance? Were you in the special boat service by chance? A lot of people always talk about the SAS. No one talks about the special boat service. It's like people have an aversion to boats. But anyways, moving on from that. And let me make sure to reread this one again. Have an awesome Christmas. We will. I'm going to have a good Christmas. It's going to be a day off, so I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to hang out with my family. I'm going to hang out with my friends. Well, not really my friends, because most of them live far away. But I will make sure to hang out with the family, enjoy all the gifts of life, and also just have a good day off. I will love the Christmas. It'll be great. And also, check out our new delivery to Ukraine next year, the Hawkeye. So let's check it out. The Hawkeye. Hawkeye. Whoo! Wow, that thing is cool, isn't it?
Oh, that is pretty cool looking, actually. It
Oh,
looks like
man.
looks like something familiar. I can't place it though.
You know what it looks like? It looks like one of those small little MRAPs. You know, the really low-profile ones. I forgot which version of that they're called. Oh man, it
Yeah, maybe so.
It could even come with an automated machine gun turret. Oh,
Oh, no, that is cool.
Now that is nice. Man, just imagine being inside of that truck. You see a Russian in the distance. You don't even have to put yourself in danger. You're inside the comfort of an air-conditioned, of course the air conditioners probably won't work, but an air-conditioned cab or a heated cab firing the little machine gun out there into the distance at those guys. I would have to say, pretty neat all around. And it just looks so freaking good. Like, look at that one. And look at this one. They're all like the same vehicle. It's like they're the same model because they are. And we're looking at them over and over again. But I'm really impressed with this thing. It looks cool. And of course, we don't, just in case if y'all are wondering, because I know that, you know, every once in a while we've had people come through that are rivet counters and like to get into the specs and stuff. We get into the specs on some things, but we're not going to geek out and get into the exact flight paths and the horsepower and the power to weight ratio and the brake horsepower and all that stuff of everything, and also the armor and all that. It just looks cool. And I gotta say, it is a pretty neat one. And so I gotta thank you so much once again for the support, SAS76, for letting us see that real quick. And also, I noticed something, Matthew, about that super chat. Something that we haven't seen in a while, actually. Someone listed off their location. Someone doxed themselves, Matthew.
Bendigo, Victoria, Australia.
Bendigo, a nephew of the Wendigo. While Matthew just breathes into that mic like an F-100's jet intake. He just went, you know,
I've learned if I breathe in really heavily, I can hold back the coughs a lot better. So that's why I'm doing it.
You know, I'm wondering, Matthew, why do you cough so much?
What?
Why do you cough so much? Tell us.
I don't know.
Answer. Anyhow, it's just kidding with you. But anyways, let's zoom in here and let's take a look at this town. Also, it looks like there's some kind of a storage depot thing going on out here. I don't know what it is. Really interesting. But anyways, let's move on over here to Bendigo. And let's look at the old Wendigo, brother. At Outback Steakhouse. We actually had, I believe, Outback for the first time. Wouldn't recommend it.
It was Longhorn, actually.
Oh, sorry. I'm throwing heat at the wrong one. We had Outback. I'm sorry, I said it again. We had Longhorn. It wasn't that good, but Wendigo on the
Going to Outback Steakhouse, are you, mate?
Going to Outback Steakhouse,
That was so lame.
are you, mate? I can't even do an Australian accent. I used to, though. It looks like they have a little Remembrance Day thing, an Anzac Day thing going on here. But it's a nice town. I like it. In Victoria. And let's go down here to the roundabout. Now, Matthew and me, we love roundabouts. Oh, brother. We love them so much, mate. A really nice fountain. Like the fountain. Man, that thing is ornate. Look at the little, like, horse mermaid things spitting out water.
Yeah, what are they, horses or mermaids? I can't even tell.
I think they're a horse mermaid hybrid, Matthew. I think that they're trying to become more fish efficient.
Aw.
If you are fish efficient, are you fish efficient?
This is wild.
This is insane. Anyways, I like the town. It kind of gives me a Wild West vibe, doesn't it, Matthew?
I don't know about that, but it's definitely unique.
It is really, it's pretty nice. I like it. Also, y'all have a cenotaph, just like the one in Whitehall in the United Kingdom. Really neat. I like that. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support, SAS76. I hope we addressed that comment fairly well, and I hope you enjoyed us looking at this town of Bendigo in Victoria. And so with that, we are on to the next one. But thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel keep on running and allowing us to take a look at your hometown of Bendigo. Also, it looks like y'all have a water park. Is this?
Big Bendy, eh?
Oh man, imagine coming down that slide at full speed and running into that statue. Gee.
Oh, the dolphin chopped me up, mate.
Oh, cocky, mate. I survived the kangaroo.
And all the pool goers just say, Igor!
No, wait, they hear your skull just implode on that thing. Igor! Oh, man. But still, it looks like a nice house. Also, I love the name Long Gully. Like, that's just so self-explanatory. Where do you live? I live in the Long Gully. And then that became the town name out here. And you got a Macca's. What does it look like? It kind of looks
nicer than ours.
Yeah, it looks nicer, but kind of like.
Oh, wait a minute. Go back up to those fries. Back up. They're not filling those all the way full. I'm not following that.
Maybe they've eaten out of them a little bit. I don't know. But it's not full at all. If that was the way it was, it's not full at all. Also, you know, there's McDonald's. Oh, they want some mayonnaise in your burger? I'm going to put them on top of the bun. You know, it doesn't.
Man, that's gourmet. Do you see that burger? That bun?
Yeah, I do. I was about to notice that. I was about to start talking about that. What else do they have at this place? This Mecca's. A McFlurry? They have a McFlurry? That's not a normal McFlurry cup.
In a bucket.
In a bucket, mate. Holy moly. I gotta tell you, honestly, McDonald's is an entirely different animal outside the United States. Also, look at this guy who has like 9 pictures of him eating the same burger. But anyways. Oh, look. Wait a minute. This one was filled. That one was filled normally.
Oh, yeah. That's back when they were doing that Monopoly peel thing back in the day.
Yeah, in 2017. That wasn't that long back in the day, but, you know. Anyways, thank you so much once again, SAS76. I hope you enjoyed us taking a look at really everything we could at Bendigo. And with that, we are on to the next one. Thank you so much for helping the channel to keep on running. If it wasn't for viewers like you who supported us so much, this wouldn't be possible. Literally, we wouldn't be able to run it. So with that, we are on to the next one. Thank you so much once again.
And I saw somebody say that they have a whole gourmet line at these McDonald's down here. But my thing is, have y'all seen the McDonald's in, I think it's Sweden or somewhere? That McDonald's is not even a fast food restaurant. I can't remember which place it was at.
I think it was in Rome, wasn't it? Let's see. McDonald's Rome. Was it this one?
Maybe.
It is.
It's a bad review.
It's this one. You see they got the cheesecake
yes.
and everything. And look, that's just too much. Okay, for a McDonald's, you gotta be kidding me. They made like a flagship restaurant in a country that they didn't even start from. Look at this. They even got like Roman mosaics on the wall. Oh man, hell, watch Bald and Bankrupt coming in here. They got Soviet mosaics. But man, look. Oh man, yeah, this is it, Matthew. This is the one.
Oh yes, yes. I'll have some. I'll have one of those pink donuts in the back with marshmallows on it.
I'll have one of those. Wait a minute. Oh, I think that's like a commemoration plaque or something that they made.
Here lies McDonald's.
Yeah, we opened up a McDonald's, brother. Or Macca's. But still, insane. We're kind of going on a McDonald's tangent a little too long, but still, this is insane, you know, especially coming from the United States. We've never seen a McDonald's like it. I'm telling y'all, never. Also, it's not that far from... See where it is, really. It's not that far, actually, from ancient Rome, you know, down here. You know, I would go into a whole bunch of... I'm going because I'm trying to think how much am I going in a rabbit hole here, but we're not going to rabbit hole in that. We'll save that for another time. But man, that's so freaking cool. Anyways, with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much once again, SAS76.
All right. And up next, we have a $100 super chat, also from Panama Floyd. Very generous, and thank you so much, Panama, for that. He donates for a contribution to the new modem/provider fund.
Thank you so much for the support, Panama Floyd, and supporting that that shall we call it the Panamanian modem project?
That would be different.
Yes, the Panamanian modem project. You were starting the fund for that, and we will see about getting a modem, or at least a connection to the one we got. So that, thank you so much once again for support, Panama. You've been around forever, and you helped this channel to keep on running. And without folks like you, it wouldn't be possible. Thank you, my Lee Spring Army Old Guard. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope we addressed that fairly well, and we were on to the next one.
All right, and up next, we have a $100 super chat from Richard Rohde, who says, like Panama Floyd said, get yourself a DOCSIS 3.1 modem, and also Merry Christmas.
And thank you so freaking much, Richard Rohde, for supporting this channel again and supporting the modem fund. He actually has a specific one he wants us to get, and we will look into it. We will see if it's possible. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support, Richard Rohde. That's not Sam Elliott. What the hell am I doing? Anyways, thank you so much once again for the support, Richard. It helps us out a massive deal, and we will make sure to try and get ourselves a router. And also, Merry Christmas to you too, Richard. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and up next, we have a, let's see here, a $20 super chat, once again from Panama Floyd, who sends out an order. He says, folks who know the Morse, translate. And I think Mark Hodges answered the call.
Thank you so much for the support, Panama Floyd. We do need people to translate that Morse code, and they gotta get kicking, you know what I mean? They're not in here watching for free. They are. I mean, they are kind of, but still, they gotta do us a service. They gotta translate that Morse code. And so, Matthew, real quick, did they?
Yes, we had one Morse code decoder, Mark Hodges, tonight. He figured it out. He said the Morse message tonight reads, Zelensky visits America, elaborates, leaves. Slava Ukraine.
Slava Ukraine. And you did get it correct. Ding-a-ding-a-ding. That Morse code was correct. And you see what I did there, Matthew?
Yes.
It's the meme. And he did. He came here, he elaborated a little, and then he left like a Chad. And I gotta say, the guy's got some pretty big balls, and especially coming to the United States and saying what he said. You gotta have some, like, make it sound like he threatened us. But
I thought he wasn't gonna make his way up into the Senate chamber, honestly.
What do you mean?
Like, you know, because you know that problem you just mentioned.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know, the big
I don't know what that means, Matthew. You just choked. That's it.
He had a really hard time fitting his big balls into the Senate chamber. Let me just say it like that.
When he was walking down the aisle, it sounded like the gavel was being used up there on the podium. You just heard click, click. But anyways,
yes. They're like, what was that sound? Thunk, thunk. I don't know.
Oh man! Every time when Zelensky was walking up the stairs to the White House, he was talking to the president. He was in there, you know, and you were at the comedy club last year. You're making jokes, and I was riding on a plane, and what happened? And the whole time he was saying that, you just hear him walking up the stairs. You hear boom, boom. Oh man. Anyways. Yeah, you know, and I'm sorry to anyone watching the stream right now, because if you have a nut allergy, I'm sorry, but we've gone there for a little bit. But with that, we're going to be moving on. The live chat's going bad, Matthew. I looked over there, I was like, oh no. But anyways,
oh, yes.
Thank you so much once again for deciphering that Morse code, Mike Hodges. You've never missed a day. And I thank you so much for always deciphering this Morse code, because if it wasn't for you, there would be no one out there to do it. And so with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much once again.
All right, and up next, we have a $20 super chat from Landlubber, who puts in a super chat. Let's see here. Let me proofread it real quick. So I'm a little conflicted on this one, Landlubber, because I think it might be getting political. I'm not sure if it's political enough to warrant not being able to read it, but I don't know. This one's on the fence. So let me send it to the enforcer. He can make a call on that. Let's see here. Copy, paste, send.
And Heatherfish Jimin just said I sound more like Jimmy Stewart. You know, I've actually been watching some of the older shows, And I really want to be like Johnny Carson one day, you know, like, oh yeah, you take out the chickens at this time of day, and what do you do with them? You know, he was a really good guy, actually. I liked him. But let's see here. Let me go to my Discord. Let me read it. Let's see here. Well, I mean, that is political. Matthew was actually sugarcoating that. That is really political. We sadly cannot bring that up on stream. That's kind of getting into the whole president's thing. And if I saw anything during Zelensky's speech at the start of the stream, it's that no matter how much we ask people to not bring up politics, like these days with how ingrained and brainwashed people are into thinking certain ways, whether, and you know, and I'm not, and some people, you know, because some people who are brainwashed like that are thinking I'm talking about them. No, I'm talking about everybody on both sides here, you know, so don't ever feel personally attacked if you were one of them. It's everyone. But no one could refrain from talking anything about politics. And it was honestly about making me cut off the speech and just move on, because nobody could focus on what Zelensky was saying. Everyone was commenting on people in the crowd that they didn't like, the people behind him that they didn't like, you know, people on the left side of the aisle, the right side of the aisle, everyone. And it was really something. Sadly, we can't go into that because that would bring up that kind of stuff again. We don't really like that on this channel. This channel is about Ukraine and the war. It's not necessarily about politics. But still, I thank you very much for the support. I do understand where you're coming from with that, but sadly, we can't really comment on it. And so with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much once again for the support.
All right, and up next, we have a $20 super chat from Hal Rose, who says, Enforcer, I hear rumors that the Panzer S2AA batteries can now see AGM equals 88 anti-radar missiles. Can it see Bayraktars, though?
No, it can't, because we saw at the beginning of the war, a lot of Panzers got destroyed by Bayraktars. So we know that it certainly cannot see them. It also probably can't see AGM-88 harms, because if it can, what can it do? You know, shoot a missile at it? Probably not.
If you can see it, then you weren't the target.
Well, if you can see it, even if it is coming for you, there's really nothing they could do at that point. The missile's on its way. It's probably flying around Mach 3 at that point, and it's such a small missile, especially compared to something like a ballistic or a cruise missile. It's not really like they can hit it with anything. It's just going to make its way to its target, hit it, destroy it. So if it could, it doesn't really matter. And they definitely can't see Bayraktars, because so many of them have been destroyed by Bayraktars. And so with that, I thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, we're on to the next one. And Peter, I see what you said there about one network. Could you add in all the other ones too? You know, like CNN, ABC, CBS. I mean, there's a million of them out there, and all of them are doing their own part in that effort. It's not just one of them. You can't blame it on one of them. It's all of them at the same time. But with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and up next, we have a $20 super chat from BC Skyman, who says, glad the Enforcer is well tonight. Merry Christmas to the LSA and Slava Ukraine.
And thank you so much for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. Of course, if it wasn't for a viewer like you, we wouldn't be able to keep these streams running, so that way we can hear that we're doing a good job. And so thank you so much for helping us to keep this thing running, so that way you can say we're doing a good job. Honestly, we ought to be thanking you for being here and supporting us, and we are. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and the next one is from Catherine Martin, who puts in a $20 donation and says, no question, you are both doing a fantastic job. Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah.
And I got to thank you so much for the support. Merry Christmas to you and Happy Hanukkah. Never really celebrated Hanukkah myself, more of a Christmas person, but if you do celebrate Hanukkah, hope you have a fun one. But moving on from that, I got to thank you so much for helping this channel to keep on running. Of course, we wouldn't be able to have a Merry Christmas with all of y'all if it wasn't for y'all support. We wouldn't have been able to make it this far. And it's really, it's always unbelievable to think how much we've raised for fundraisers and how we've been able to actually keep this thing going just entirely off of y'all's support. The fundraisers and this channel being able to run is all thanks to y'all. And so I got to thank you so much once again, and a Merry Christmas to you as well. And so with that, we are on to the next one, and thank you so much once again.
Alrighty, and up next we have a $20 super chat from a Hokey Redneck, who says, no question, I just learned about Picatinny Arsenal in New Jersey, home of a lot of good things. I designed the HVAC for the longest indoor range in the U.S., and he gives the coordinates to it. So let me send those coordinates to you so you can pull them up.
And we will make sure to pull that
there
up. So let's see here. Is it in the live chat?
No, it's in Discord.
Oh, let me pop up a Discord real quick.
Just copy and paste those into Google Maps.
Copy and paste into Google Maps. Of course, we will do just that. Copy, paste. What do we got right here? All right, what is this? Like, seriously. Let's see. It is near New York. It's actually in New Jersey. That's actually scary, Matthew. Like, anything in New Jersey is bad news. Someone's about to be like, I'm from New Jersey. What do you got wrong with it? Like, nothing. We're just kidding. It's not like toxic waste is dumped off there or anything. But let's take a look at this place. So, there's not a lot of...
Street View?
Street View? No Street View.
Oh, it's secret.
It's the Picatinny Arsenal. I guess that's where the Picatinny rails come from. They also got a golf course. Huh.
Fancy.
The Picatinny Arsenal flagpole, a national landmark that we do not have pictures
Oh, it's
of.
secret.
Secret.
The whole thing's secret.
Look, it's a secret flagpole. What else is here? What can we look at? Oh, the commissary. Oh, that's actually pretty high end. Oh, interesting. What else you got? Not really a lot to look at here. We can't drop down in there. And so, it's military base, I know. But still, can't really drop down in there. But still, really cool place. And it's cool to know that there's such a thing as the Picatinny Arsenal. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And right down the street from it is the Frog Falls Aquatic Park. Really nice. Really nice. Actually, that's right near the commissary. Apparently, that's the water park for the Arsenal. And also, there's like a giant open pit here. And what else is there? Not much. But still, I thank you so much once again for the support and allowing us to take a look at something as cool as the Picatinny Arsenal. And with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much once again.
All right. And up next, we have a $20 super chat from Sharon Tukalski, along with a $10 super chat from Chaotic. And they don't leave comments, sadly. But Sharon and Chaotic, thank you very much once again for that support. And thanks for helping to keep us running.
And I know that Andrew's got something to add on to that as well.
I think Matthew has something to add on that as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the support. It helps this channel to keep on running, and I know y'all both know that, and that's why y'all threw it in. And I gotta just thank y'all once again. And so with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and up next we have a $15 super chat from Richard Daniel Jr., who says, "Happy holidays to all the LSA. In my opinion, maybe do a fundraiser on Friday, and y'all take Saturday and Sunday off?" ?
We've been thinking about that. But at the same time, that's going to be so off the beaten path in terms of the fundraising time that I don't know if we would have a lot of people show up for that. That's one thing that we're kind of debating right now because, as y'all may notice, we have ended the Christmas week. And now there is, of course, a lot of people are off. And so we're trying to debate if we get that close. Like, if we go on Saturday, we run one, which is Christmas Eve, will anyone even be on? Because a lot of people probably be having fun with their families and stuff like that, so there may not be any people on to fundraise with there. And then if we do it Friday, that's so far off the beaten path. Is that worth doing? I'm kind of debating right now of throwing up a video on Christmas that'll kind of be like an Enforcer channel Christmas address, where I'm on camera reading off a little speech to y'all about Christmas or something like that, and then attach a fundraiser to it. That's what I've been thinking about for now, but we may also consider the idea of running one on Friday. And so with that, I thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one. Thank you so much once again.
And next up, we have a $10 super chat from White Lightning 777, who says, "Did you watch Zelensky's speech? He handed the flash to the VP and Speaker of the House. I thought the way they handled that was either unrehearsed or disrespectful. Politicians shouldn't be that sloppy."
And I did not see that part. We can run back to it real quick and take a look at it because I never saw it. I just saw the pictures of it. So let's go back to C-SPAN and let's take a look at that. So let's go to the full event, please. I would like the full event. You know, man, I've actually seen some funny clips from C-SPAN whenever they do
Are
that
you
call.
a YouTube creator?
Whenever they do that call-in segment, you know, like when people can call in and people would call in and like there'd be like a certain representative or something on. And they'd
Oh,
be like,
yeah.
I have a question about the fiscal policy, firstly, and secondly, can the senator burn in hell? And then they'll cut them off on the phone call. And they're like,
It's always so dangerous to have people just like freely calling in. You don't know what the hell they're going to say.
It kind of reminded me of that skit, you know, from South Park. I'm sure you've seen it because we've never watched the show, but the clip is out there on the internet, where they, what was it? I'm trying to think. It was like they went and had like a guy on QVC or something like that, similar to it. People kept on calling in and telling him to, you know, like off himself. And
Yeah.
He's like, I'm here to sell jewelry. And then someone would be like, you should, you know, do the thing. And he'd be like, what the? And then he'd hang up the phone again. But anyways, let's skip forward to the part with the flag. Here we go.
We fight and we will win because we are united. Ukraine, America, and the entire free world.
Oh, it paused right there. It's a
Lag?
still shot. I don't know. Let's see here if the OBS is dying. It's not. So it's not lag. Something wrong with... Oh, here we go.
Just one thing.
Dang.
That's me. That's me talking into the mic.
Yeah, that was you during the speech. You're like, I would like to know. It's like, golly.
If I can, the last thing, thank you so much. May God protect our brave troops and citizens. May God forever bless the United States of America. Merry Christmas and happy, victorious New Year. Slava Ukraini!
That look though.
Why? You know.
Oh goodness.
Oh man. And let's see. How do they pull this off here? I gotta watch this whole thing.
Thank you so much.
That fella down there is admiring him.
that man is down there. When I saw your silvery hair, your beautiful sweatshirt, I fell in love with you at first sight. That's what he's like down there. Now they're handing him the flag.
I can hold.
Okay.
I can hold.
Yes.
There we go.
Man, that's a giant flag. That must be like a garrison flag or something. Or wait a minute, that may be a normal like post flag, you know, Matthew? It's just that he's so small it looks massive. I don't think there was...
This flag was flown over the Capitol today in honor of the president's visit.
Oh, I thought she was talking about the Ukrainian flag right there. I was going to be like, no, it wasn't. I was like, where did you get that from? But she's talking about the American flag.
You know, this part was kind of a little awkward, but honestly, somebody should have been like directing him where to go. Like nobody was telling him anything.
Yeah, no one really was. I like Randy how honestly he took it like it was a snack or something. He's like, thanks guys, thanks, and he just starts wandering off. He's like,
And he really booked it when he got the flag. Like he took off
man.
like he was gone.
Hey, look at that. Watch this. I thought this was hilarious because like he doesn't know what to do anymore because you know it's over. You know, it's like there's no real segment of what he's supposed to be doing here, so he just took off. Wait, did he just ask her, can I go? Like, he's like, I can go? And she's like, yeah. I think that's what he just said.
Today in honor of the president's visit.
Thank you so much. I will take it.
Yeah, he
Oh,
literally
you did say that.
Yeah, he said, "I can go," and she's like, "Yeah, it's over." And he's like, "Thanks, guys. See you."
Who can blame him, though? He's had enough of American politics already. He's scooting.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, he's like, all this clapping stuff is really getting to me. He's like, I need to go. And he's taking the football to the touchdown. He's past the 50. He's going to the 40. He's going to the 30. No one's stopping him. Well, it looks like by and large, like looking at him leaving the room, it looks like all sorts of folks, like hell, you got to remember, and a lot of people got to remember that the House of Representatives that we're looking at right here is split almost right down the middle, at least at the moment. One party on one side of the aisle and one on the other, and it seems like both sides of the aisle are heavily crowded with representatives of both parties trying to see him as he goes. And so it looks like a lot of people had well wishes for him, and it looks like a large majority of the Congress are really still behind Ukraine, which is good to know.
Or they just wanted a picture, like politicians like to do.
Well, yeah, maybe, but still, with everyone crowding around him, you got to get a pretty good idea that they must respect him to some degree, and that they'll probably try and keep support running. Because I've said this before, and I'll say it again: this is all a front, and the fact that one group is trying to act like they don't support Ukraine will all crumble when they sit there and they get the majority. And that's always what's been shown, and I've gone over that story a million times before. This is all just a front to give an idea of opposition, but once they get in charge, it'll be the other side saying that it's stupid to support them, and then the side that's not in charge right now that will get in charge will be supporting them and acting like it's fine. Because listen, I haven't lived long. I'm only 20 years old, but I've lived long enough to see this thing happen about 8 times over. Each time the House or the Senate ever flips, it's always like that. So I wouldn't have any doubt that the support to Ukraine would continue, even if both flipped in the future in the next 2 years or so. But anyways, I don't think they treated the flag too disrespectfully, considering that there isn't any kind of like real protocol there as to getting the flag. I mean, like he actually had it folded up in a little folder just a second before that. I don't think it was that disrespectful. So I don't really see that much of a problem with it. Especially considering that there was no way to really store the flag or anything to do with it. I wasn't expecting the vice president and the speaker to start folding the flag up or anything like that in between the two of them. So all in all, not that bad. But with that, I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And thank you so much once again for the support. And also, what a great gesture to take a battle flag from Bakhmut that actually has the writing and the best wishes of these soldiers from Bakhmut. They actually requested for this flag to go to Ukraine, to go to the United States and be given to the government to actually arrive in our hands. And now we have it. Maybe it'll end up in a museum somewhere in the future. Maybe down here in the South so I can see it. But with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much once again for the support.
All right, and up next, we have another super chat from SAS76, who this time puts in a $40 donation and says, I thought you boys might like something else, possibly being sent next year with our Hawkeye. It's a swarm drone system from Defentex in Dandenong, Victoria. Check it out. It's pretty awesome. It's called Defentex.
Swarm drone. I think I've heard of something.
I've never
like
heard
that
of that, actually.
Swarm drone from Defentex. Oh? I have seen this before.
Let's see a close-up.
We've actually showed this thing on stream. It's the drone bomb. Like the stick.
Oh. I like.
Pretty cool. Also, man, you can see that little clip that we just showed a second ago has really brought out the bots, because while you're talking to me, you're executing loads. Like, good lord. I'm like watching this, I'm like, geez. And also, I love how some people are like, stop with the politics. It's like, we didn't even cover politics. We literally avoided it. I don't get people sometimes. Anyways, we have seen these things before, and they are super cool. Also, we saw them shoot it out of the
video.
gun. He's loading it in a 40mm grenade launcher, shoots it, and then the drone deploys. Really cool, actually.
Very cool. I love that. That is extremely cool. SAS76, they need some of those.
They do. They need some of those. I think those will do a great job in helping out on the front lines for sure. And you can see over here, the D40 features, grenade launcher compatible, low cost per unit, ISR payload option, swarming.
Why does this model look like that if anybody saw that Ring doorbell robot thing that would fly around your house and like surveillance drone, it looks just like it.
So man, good lord. And they swarm actually. Look at that.
This would be great for home defense.
Oh god.
Just blow half your house up to get the burglar.
Some burglar goes running out of your house. It's like some dystopian movie from 50 years in the future. Get him. And their head just blows off. Oh lord. I don't know if that'd be great for home defense. I don't know at that point if you could use it and call it home defense, but hey, I mean, like, you know, you can give it a shot.
That would definitely be an interesting like legal scenario. Like who's liable for that if the drone like did it on its own?
And I gotta say, that's a pretty good point. And still, that thing's really cool. I think that they should get some SAS-76. And thank you so much once again for showing us that. And from what you said, it sounds like it's from Australia. And so with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much once again for the support and allowing us to take a look. It's such a cool piece of equipment.
All right. And with that being said, we're on to our next one, which goes to Rad Doctor, who puts in a $20 donation and sent us a super sticker of the pair with its rear end on fire saying "Goal."
Dang, man, that thing is dying.
Look at that. Eagle.
that thing is about to burn to death, and then right when it falls and it does this last little twitch, you're going to hear, yeah, Eagle! Oh, man. But thank you so much for the support, Rad Doctor. It, of course, helps us out a whole load, and we love to laugh at the little emojis that people send in and just come up with funny things about them. And so with that, thank you so much for helping this channel out, and we are on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Chip Kerwan, who puts in a $10 donation and says, okay, let's have an LSA office pool tomorrow, pre-Z. Gonna big time zap, losing Putin to humiliate him. What's next? Big fat juicy bullseye for President Z, trolling fun and orc pressure, question mark.
I don't understand the question.
I don't understand it either. The big fat juicy part really got me like shook for a minute.
Oh man, that reminds me of a time. And then let me say this real quick. I always got to preface it with this. This is not meant to be a political comment, but you remember that time, Matthew, that a certain representative from a certain political party was going into the Capitol building and someone caught them outside and was like, hey, started saying all that stuff, if you know what I mean?
I think so.
And then she went up to the top of the Capitol steps and started filming, and she added the word juicy to the description.
Oh.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember now.
That reminded me of that. I was like, what? Oh, man, that's a whole thing on its own. And of course, saying this real quick, we're not getting political by saying that because we're not giving any political opinions or stuff like that, just recounting something that we saw before. And I always got to be careful saying that because sometimes we can just go and just recount something that happened before, not even giving an opinion or anything like that. And people will be, oh, so anyways. I don't think I can answer that question, but still, it's a funny phrase question. I don't know what it's supposed to mean, but I liked it. And so thank you so much once again for the support. And we are on to the next one. And thank you so much for the juicy.
All right, and moving on to our next one, we have a $10 super chat from Junebug72, who says, I hope you're feeling better at the Enforcer, and hello, Enforcer Matt. If you want to give someone from the chat a question, please do in Slav Ukraine.
And we're not.
And thank you very much, Junebug72. And no, we're not. We're not going to do that. Moving on to the next one.
We're just playing. We'll make sure to give it to a live chat. And now Matthew's got I was like, we're just playing. And then Matthew had me personally, on my own behalf, I was just kidding as well. We were going to get to it here. But still, thank you so much for the support, Junebug72. And I do feel a lot better tonight. I think whatever I had was like a one-day sickness kind of deal, if y'all have ever had one. And now I'm over it, so I'm okay. I'm okay. Are you okay, man? Oh, actually, now I'm getting warm as I'm saying that. I feel like I'm getting like hot. But anyways, thank you so much once again.
Oh, he's getting warm.
I'm getting warm, guys. Anyways, thank you so much for the support, Junebug. And we will make sure to hand it over to a live chat. So with that, what do we got, Matthew?
All right, so the live chat question is sponsored by Junebug72. Goes to Oats Air, who says, Enforcer, and also Enforcer Matt, what's the coldest weather you've experienced? I think that would be the time we went out west to Colorado. It was snowing, and I think it was like, what, 5 degrees or something?
Actually, I think the coldest weather we ever had was here in Alabama. It got down to like 2 degrees Fahrenheit or -2 degrees Fahrenheit, which is close to 0 or -1 degrees Celsius. And that was for 1 year. I think it was 5 years ago or so. It got extremely cold, and that was That was pretty interesting. Also, Rick, please no politics. We don't air political opinions on here. We just stated a story that we remembered before. We're not trying to make any comments about that. But, anyways, getting back to what I'll say, I think that's the coldest we've ever gotten. It did get pretty cold out there in the West, though, and interestingly enough, you know, being from the South, you don't know what the hell bad winter weather is. And so we drove through the middle of a blizzard, and we drove from Denver, I believe, no, it was Fort Collins, actually, all the way through Wyoming, through this blizzard, and then to Salt Lake City. And when we got to the hotel, I think it was like wait a minute, no, it wasn't in Salt Lake City, because we drove all the way from Salt Lake City, I think that same day up towards like Idaho Falls or something like that. When we got to Idaho Falls and we turned on the news, we found out that we actually drove through a blizzard that ended up killing 3 people on the exact same interstate we were driving on at the time we were driving down it. Which was kind of weird because we were just driving through like it was normal weather. We're like, wow, it's so beautiful. And then you'd see like a burned out 18-wheeler on the side of the road. And you'd be like, I wonder what happened to that guy. And apparently they just, I don't know what happened to him, but 3 people died on that interstate during that blizzard, which was kind of crazy. Don't you remember that, Matthew? Was it just me, or was that on the news when we got to the next place? We're like, wow, we just went through a blizzard.
I don't remember that.
I remember that. I've always remembered that since then. Maybe I'm insane or something. That must be the reason why I can run
That's
this.
probably it.
Yeah, for 302 days straight. So anyway, yeah, I'm batty. So with that, we're on to the
Batty.
next one. Thank you so much once again for the support, and I hope that does answer the comment fairly well. And it sounds like Matthew finally got me back for what I said about him on the Sunday stream.
Yes, he's batty, as he said. But anyways, on to our next one. We have a $20 super chat from Santiago Flores, who says, hello.
Hey!
It seems that Zelensky knows to push Putin's buttons. A psychological chess game as Churchill did to Hitler, and thanks for everything.
I'd have to say that if anyone could pull such a chess game, it would be none other than Winston Churchill, who dominated the seas, because that is what we're going to try and do. Wait a minute, I have to pull that up real quick. One second, Santiago. I had to pull this up since you brought up Winston Churchill. Let's see. One second, y'all. 1 second. Bear with me.
Man, it sure is cold where y'all are. It looks like everybody in the chat's in a place that's either -15 or -20.
Wait, hang on, y'all. Hang on. I gotta show y'all this. And also, I saw that in the live chat too, man. It looks cold as hell out here. So anyways, here we go.
We must expect another blow to be struck, almost immediately. The hospital ships which brought off many thousands of British and French wounded. At any rate, that is what we're going to try to do.
What did the British like to drink for alcohol? What is it? It's not scotch. It's
Gin,
something else.
Isn't it? It's gin.
Gin?
Right?
Yeah, he's on the gin.
He's on that gin and juice. That is what we're going to try and do. Well, let's listen to that one more time. Like, you can hear they saying that is what we're going to try and do, but I guess to some people it sounds like gibberish. It kind of does a little.
At any rate, that is what we're going to try to do.
It's definitely gibberish.
You still got to respect him though. He was a pretty great guy actually, although he had some drinking problems at that point. Anyways, moving on from that, I would have to say that he is definitely playing a chess game, much like he did with Hitler. And he's really one-upped him, especially considering that he was talking to the Ministry of Defense today about how their casualties are acceptable, and he's over in the United States getting standing ovations from Congress. Really a huge difference in between the two. But anyways, that is what we're going to try and do. And thank you so much to give the support, Santiago Flores, and we are on to the next one.
All right, and our next one goes to Lori Hill, who puts in a $10 donation and says, I don't miss many of your streams, though I haven't supported often. If Russia loses, who takes responsibility for all the nuclear weapons that Russia holds? What do you think?
It would be NATO. NATO would take responsibility for all those nuclear weapons. Whatever would happen to them, it would pretty much be under NATO's jurisdiction, which means the United States would end up taking care of most of it. Because that's just how it works. That's what we did back in the day, back when we had to disarm a whole bunch of Russian nuclear submarines and other kinds of things that we couldn't take care of in the 90s. We had to go over there and get rid of it. So that's just what we're going to try and do. So with that, I hope that answers the question fairly well. And thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel keep alive. And I hope we answered that question for you. And with that, we're on to the next one.
And now that I mentioned it, about what the Germans, or not the Germans, what the British like to drink for alcohol, I was just thinking that James May created his own brand of gin, the guy from Top Gear, and
Really?
maybe that's why he created it. Yeah, it's called James Gin. You can pull it up on the internet.
The only thing I can remember about James May is when he took that trip to Japan and that guy was trying to go into what was it, the Cat Girl Cafe or something like that, and James May said, that's kind of pervy. That's all I can remember of him at this point.
Yeah, punch in James Gin real quick, and you'll see the website's pretty cool.
Let's see, James Gin. Holy moly, he really does, doesn't he? Welcome to James Gin US UK store. Clever text suggests you're in the United States. Would you like us to redirect your local store? No, thank you. I don't think we can get copyrighted for this. There he is. Why the hell is everyone getting into gin? Ryan Reynolds has got pilot gin or whatever, aviation gin now too.
Yeah, I gotta say, if I was an alcohol drinker, I would definitely buy James May's gin just to have a bottle of it sitting around because it's cool.
We're not sponsored by him or anything, but that's Matthew's take.
I don't mind shouting out James May; he's legendary.
The rules of chess. What the world's that? The Tupac? He's called it the Tupac?
What? No way.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah.
Damn, it's kind of expensive.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have any reviews.
Oh yeah, you called it the 2-pie. That's interesting.
Let's go.
Oh, the 2-pack because it's a 2-pack.
Oh, let's
he trolled everyone.
Asian parsnip, Asian parsnip, Navy strength, American mustard.
Ugh.
That's I
don't know about that. I'll take the regular one though.
What is this? Let's see here. American mustard is not in itself a recognized strain of the genus Brassica. It's more of a conceptual, an abstract signifier of America's greatness. In producing this gin, I'm acknowledging the UK's debt to the land of the free and celebrating the special relationship our two nations enjoy. It's a bit like the one, those are political figures that are past our 1960s mark, so censored had. Theirs helped to...
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. It says up top, handcrafted by artisans in sheds. What the hell? That sounds so suspicious.
This man is brewing up gin like some kind of a distillery hillbilly in the Appalachian Mountains. Handcrafted by our best shed in his own shed out there in the still. God darn it. Well, let's see. Conversely, will create a warmth in your belly and a slight sensation of fire on the tongue. No, single bottle orders come in the branded box. Multiple orders don't because you can only fit one in a box, obviously. Written just like James May. I would honestly, with that description in mind, I would get the American mustard. But why in the world does this thing look like it's in a medicinal cabinet? It's like some kind of chemistry lab, I
thought it looked cool.
I think it looks cool, but it kind of looks weird at the same time. But anyways, I thank you so much. Well, wait a minute, that wasn't even a super chat. Interesting little side note, but with that, we got to get on to the next one.
So our next one goes to John B. Rempel, who puts in a $10 donation and says, "Hello, enforcers. Great job you are both doing, and pass on a question, please, and thank you."
Thank you for complimenting us on the great job we're doing. I always think that our job is the best on earth. No one can top us. I'm just kidding. People can top us. So, thank you so much once again for supporting this channel and helping us to keep it running. And let me make sure that we get a live chat as well for you. And so with that, what do we got, Matthew?
All right, and the live chat question goes to Plexus Gaming, who says, "Do you think that Russia will use dirty bombs soon?" Let's see. Putin would prove he is an idiot if he does.
I don't think they will, because we've seen one thing. Russians have always been quoted they're about to do something disastrous. They'll end up killing everyone. They'll blow up the nuclear power plant. They'll blow up the dam. They'll invade Kyiv again. They'll invade from Belarus, or Belarus will join the war and stuff like that. We've never seen any of it happen because they always hype it up and freak people out because they hope that people freaking out will eventually make them subdued to the Russians in their will, but they never do it. And I don't think that they will do that anytime soon, but of course I can be proven wrong. And so with that, thank you so much once again for support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well, at least in my opinion. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and up next, we have a $10 super chat from Mech Tactical, who says, "Why don't you fear a hashtag poo-poo army? Because before long, they're going to get the runs. Boom. Slava Ukraine."
Oh, God. Oh, God. That's just
Igor.
Igor. It's ew. Ew, that was the nastiest funny joke we've ever had on here. But still, thank you for the support. Pretty good joke still. I mean, like, it's nasty, but it's good. And with that, we are on to the next one. Thank you so much once again for that nasty joke.
All right.
All
And
right.
let's see here. Looking to investigate a bot incident here. Okay. Not enough evidence to conclude they're a bot yet, but I see everybody's concerns. But up next, we have a $10 super chat from Richard Philpott, who says, hi, hashtag JD, hashtag magic, and Clamptastic.
And thank you so much for the support. And I, hashtag thank you, hashtag chat running, and hashtag thank you, plus let's see what else, hashtag trending, and so with that, thank you so much once again for the support, and thank you for being clamptastic. And with that, we are on to the next one. Thank you so much once again for the support.
Also, C-Face said that he caught some son of a bee trying to break into his truck on camera. Man, listen, you got to post it on YouTube and make a little bit of that YouTube money, man.
Yeah, man.
That might be a viral video.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, you gotta get it on YouTube, man. Like, so that way the channels out there, the YouTube channels, they can rip you. They can rip you, and they put it in their own video, and they pad the time, so that way people watch for longer, and they get more ads, and they get more.
Or you can actually probably license it to like one of these like compilation channels, like I don't know, like I think Viral Hog's one of them, and they might like buy it from you.
Wait a minute. Didn't you see that right there, Matthew?
What?
Yuri, look at Yuri. What the hell is he saying? What is that? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Banking is clearly not my strong suit.
What the hell do you mean? You gotta clarify that.
Yuri went off the rails. What the hell happened, Yuri?
What in the world's going on, Yuri? Come on, Yuri. You better think carefully. Who are you talking to? You're on thin ice, pal. But anyways, thank you so much once again for the thank you once again for letting us know about that story, Cife. I don't know why in the world I say that every time. I say thank you so much to everything. I get brainwashed in the question segment. I have to start off everything saying that. We're gonna start cutting that out because that really annoys me when I say it too much. But still, I mean, you didn't even let him clarify, Matthew. Give him a minute to clarify. Give him a minute to clarify. Hang on, we're gonna give him a minute. All right, because I'm sure we'll get enough information, and then we can, Anyways, moving on from that. Oh, wait a minute, hang on. Oh,
wait a minute, you did the wrong thing, Enforcer.
We canceled it out. We canceled out. Well, anyways, getting back to that, crazy, and we will make sure to look at that on the Discord, so that we are on to the next one.
All right, and up next, we have a $20 super chat from Indy Andy 4C, who does not leave a comment. But Indy Andy, thank you very much. You've been around forever, and you've been supporting us forever as well. We do appreciate it very much. And I'll be very interested to know how you got your name as well, because I have a feeling it has something to do with cars. Specifically, one particular car brand. But go ahead.
Also, Matthew, he said it was the gas station guy. I thought he was talking about us. I was like, what in the world are we doing?
There wasn't much context related to it.
Yeah, so sorry. Sorry, Yuri. We thought you were talking about us, and you've been here forever. And we were like, why in the world are you getting so rude with us? Like, I was like, what in the world? Like, and anyway, sorry about that. We apparently had a misunderstanding there. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and up next we have a $10 super chat from Chip Kerwan, who says, don't you think Ukraine is going to quickly follow up with a big headline-grabbing battlefield victory or stunt? Embarrassing to lose Putin to sustain his momentum.
Yes, I do think they will, and it's only a matter of time at this point. And I think, in my opinion, they're going to be going from Svatove to Starobilsk, or they're going to be heading down towards Melitopol. It'll be one or the other. The lines are open in those areas, and I think that it will go fairly well, in my opinion. And so with that, I hope that does answer the question fairly well. Thank you so much once again for the support. And of course, we rely on your support to keep this channel running. So with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and up next, big shout out to Vasile for putting in an $8 donation, and thank you very much for that. It helps to keep us running. And up next, we have a $5 super chat from HerpDerpNV, who says, check out Hawthorne Army Depot on Google Earth. It is supposed to be the largest ammunition storage depot in the world. Also, a good pizza shop is there. That's a weird place to have a legendary pizza shop.
Hawthorne Ammo Depot. Let's take a look at this thing. Is this it? Oh, that must be the housing. Reno, girls, girls, girls. That doesn't sound right.
That's a clothing store.
Oh man, I would no. Well, oh, your daughter's so well dressed, my sweetie poo. Where'd you get her clothes? I got it from Reno. Girls, 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 baby. It's right near the Gentlemen's Club, called the same thing. But anyways, holy moly, that is an ammo base. Wow, look at that. Ammo as far as the eye can see. That. Wow, it goes on forever. He's even out here. Now that's insane, honestly. I would assume you're correct. That's got to be the largest one in the world right here. Like, dang, is it even out here? No, it's just roads out there. Let's see, and then there's also this thing here. Dang, that's impressive. I had to go back and take a look at some of those. But anyways, thank you so much for sharing that with us, because this thing is massive. I didn't even know this thing existed. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and up next, big shout out to Matthew Guzbert for putting in a $5 donation, but without a comment. But Matthew, thank you very much for your support. And it sounds like a very fancy way to say my name, Matthew, instead of Matthew. I like your pronunciation better. But thank you very much for the support. And up next, we have a $5 super chat from Gramer, who says, "Well done, lads. Make sure you drop into Street View to see the delightful Russian city of Vorkuta. All the best from Brisbane, Australia."
We're going to the Soviet town of Vorkuta. Oh god, that looks depressing from here. Ew. Ew. Where is this? Anyways. Oh god, that's like way up
Oh
there.
my. It's an old Soviet rural town in the middle of nowhere.
And now I'm gonna shill for the government I'm in, and then I'll leave, so that way I can make myself... Oh god, this is depressing. Oh wow, this really is. Ew. Dolphin. Oh, I just spit all over my keyboard saying that. Oh man. Oh,
Why do you say it like with such emphasis too? Dolphin.
Dolphin. Oh man, this place is terrible. Horrendous. What's this mural up here? Mural that actually shows the place they wish they lived in.
What are those things hanging up in the sky?
Electrical lines for the trolley buses.
Huh.
Yeah. So if you ever get
Those are street lights, actually, that are hanging off the wires right there.
Really? Are you serious?
Looks like it.
It is.
Some really janky street lights.
If you ever just got the inclination in this town that it was just too much for you, just get a really long broom handle and stick it up into the air, and it'll all be over before you know it. Oh Lord!
Look at all the nice light. Whoa! What?
I would like to live in the
I thought I saw something
Nickelodeon.
else there for a minute.
I would like to live in the Nickelodeon building, please. Ew. This place is nasty. I'm glad you showed this to us. This looks like this really does look like somewhere Bald and Bankroad would go, and he would talk about, look at the character of the Russian people, and then he'd be sitting there, we're going to deport you, stop filming me. Oh, they're beautiful. They're wonderful
If Bald
people.
and Bankrupt was like straight up and honest, oh look, another Soviet hellhole.
This place looks like shit. It does. Look at the city square. He's never gotten a paving job in 30
Jeez.
years. They paved this in 1960, and they did it just then. They've never done it again. Also, look, look, it's a statue of Lenin. It's an old Soviet statue of Lenin. Crikey, mate. It's time for me to go get drunk with the locals and then do nothing else of value. I mean, I used to like Bald and Bankroad until he went to Vietnam and Afghanistan and started painting the United States and the West as a whole to be the bad guys. It's like after he got outed during that whole little deal where he was in the Russian interrogation cell, he's now just doubled down on that. But you know, I don't like that at all. I thought he was doing that to get out of there. Apparently he actually believed it. Now he's just going with it. Oh wow, now we're really getting into the bad parts of Vorkuta. We thought we were in the bad spot there. Look at this place. We are now in the haunted mansion of Freddy Krueger's dreams. Oh, look, it's a bus. Wow, that bus has seen better days. This place is depressing, I gotta say.
wonder where these people are all like walking to, like all over the place.
Yeah, come on, kid. We're going down to the store to get drunk. And look at them. They're like, oh, it's camera. I've never seen
It's not
camera.
foreign to them. But look to the right. What was that? A restaurant or something over there? That's the left. There you go.
The Sakumka restaurant. Let's go in
It must be a
there.
cafe.
It must be because they got pictures of pies, cakes, and coffee. It must be a cake and coffee shop.
All right, that's it. I've seen enough. I've seen enough.
It's time for me to take the 38 snub nose and go the same way as that singer from the Beatles. So that's the
Oh dear.
Oh dear. That's the end of that clip. And I got to tell you, I wouldn't want to live there. And so with that, we're on to the next one.
All right, and up next we have a $5 super chat from Dark Warrior 137, who says, if freezing is just a liquid turning to a solid when cold enough, is all the metal we use technically just frozen? Man,
Yes.
that's deep.
Yeah, it kind of is true. You know, that's not really the questions we normally get, but I would suppose so. You know, because when you melt up, when you get the temperature high enough, steel does melt, and so it is kind of a liquid, and it's just solid at this temperature. That, you know, you're messing with me. Get the hell away from me. Anyways, thank you so much for the support. That is a really deep question. I like it. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And up next, we have a $5 super chat from Fuchsia Cone, who says, I hear Germany had 18 of 18 PUMS fail in an exercise, and Germany halted orders of the system based upon unacceptable quality. Is it true?
PUMS. I have not heard of that weapon system before.
Hums.
Like PUMS?
Yeses.
I think they're talking about the Puma.
A Puma?
Let's see here. Nope, there's 350 of these things made, and they're pretty cool. So that's not it. I can't find the
Germany makes some very nice designs for military equipment.
They do. Also, that was the little SD KFZ 234, which was a World War II light tank.
I kind of like that too.
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. We'll go to that real quick. Pretty cool little thing. That's also a pencil drawing of it, or a wartime view apparently. But anyways, this thing's pretty neat. I don't know about the other Pumes thing, but if you can clarify, we can try and circle back. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one we have is from Louis Marina, who puts in a $5 donation and says, politics aside, let us just appreciate a USA administration that has respect for a country being attacked by a much larger adversary. And that's kind of political, I have to admit.
That is kind of political. Sadly, we can't really talk about that because that infers that there is a different kind of administration that doesn't support foreign countries. And, you know, then that goes down a whole rabbit hole that's political. But I do thank you for the support. And with that, we are on to the next one.
Right. And up next, we have a $5 super chat from Kristen Adams, who says, for the hamster fund, because the one inside your internet is dying.
It is. And, you know, I think it may be because, like, I looked over at it a second ago and the thing's, like, running on its wheel, but it looks like it's starting to steam. And I don't think it's normal for hamsters to start steaming. So I'm going to pour some water on it, maybe give it a sand bath, and then throw it back in and see if it keeps running. You know, if it doesn't, we might be in trouble. And so with that, thank you so much for giving us support. I'm just letting y'all know we do not condone the abuse of hamsters on the stream or anything similar, and no hamsters were harmed in the making of any of these streams. And so with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much once again for the support and letting us know.
Oh, yes. And up next, we have a $5 super chat from Fuchsia Cone, who says, was the Big Z Commando under the olive drab? Hell yeah. No, maybe, dunno. And that was actually supposed to be a poll. He was requesting a poll.
Oh, I was like, I don't think I can answer that. I don't know what it means, but I thank you for the support. And do you want to make that a poll, Matthew?
I'm not sure if I understand the question, Fuchsia. Was the Big Z Commando under the olive drab? Do you understand, like, the question? Am I missing it?
Sadly, I don't. Unfortunately. So, if you could clarify that, maybe we could run a poll on that. A real late.
If you're asking, was he wearing olive drab? I would say absolutely yes.
I would say so. So with that, Fuchsia, I hope that does answer the question fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one. Thank you so much once again for supporting this channel and also your daughter for making that incredible merch. And so with that, we are on to the next one.
All right. And up next, we have a $5 super chat from Mark Nick, who says Zelensky wears the uniform in solidarity with all of his Ukrainian brothers and sisters who are dying in the trenches. Slava Ukraine and Hiram Slava. He puts in the Irish flag, too.
Well, I thank you so much for the support, and I would agree with that. I would say that he was probably doing that for that reason. We've seen that he's taken up a very Spartan kind of attire lately, especially since the war, where he wears similar things to fatigues and stuff, such things like that the military wears. And I would say that was probably the reason why he did that in Congress. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right. And up next, we have a $5 super chat from OCB, who says, let's give a shout out for the first test flight of the F-14 52 years ago today.
Can you reread that one again?
Sure.
What in the world? Your voice just exploded. I was like, can you reread
I
that
know.
one again? You're like, sure.
I was holding a cough. But anyways, this one goes to OCB once again and says, let's give a shout out for the first test flight of the F-14 52 years ago today.
Hey, and that's also really cool to hear. I like the F-14. Gotta be honest with y'all. I like the F-16 the best. Let's see here if I can get a picture of the prototype. Also looking, a Royal Air Force F-14. Now that would be something. But anyways, I can't find the prototype. Wait a minute, found it. There it is. I think it was pretty cool. I mean, that's a NASA version. Nah, never mind. That's not it. Still, pretty cool plane. It's really cool to know that the prototype flew today, 50 years ago. And also, still got to say, y'all, I love the F-16. Look at this thing. It's beautiful. I think it's one of the best looking aircraft that the United States has ever made. But with that, I will say this, though. The ones with the giant fuel tanks that are on top, I'm not a big fan of that. It doesn't look good. It makes it look blocky. Not really into blocky. Look at that. But still, pretty cool nonetheless. I still like the F-14 too. It's pretty neat. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope we addressed that fairly well. And we're on to the next one.
All right. And up next, we have a $5 super chat from Cameron K, who says, you think Zelensky not with a suit was for public stuck in Ukraine to not give image he's taking a break from the war, and that's why he didn't spend the night too. I mean, that could have been it. You know, to me personally, I wonder if his people would have thought that it would have been better if he like went there and like put on an image and everything. I'll be honest with you, it's the U.S. kind of let him down a little bit. It doesn't seem like there was much planning for his like speech in Congress. They weren't telling him where to go. It was kind of confusing when they were exchanging the flags. We kind of let him down at the same time, and there wasn't much planning. But that's just my take on it. And Forster, what say you?
I would say largely the same thing. And so with that, thank you so much for the support. Pretty true comment. That may have been the reason. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right. And up next, we have a $5 super chat from Xavier Estrada, who says, get some abueleta, hot cocoa before the winter storm hits Alabama, praying our Texas grid doesn't fail again, and I can't imagine fighting in the winter.
And thank you so much for the support. Hopefully the Texas grid doesn't fail again. And, you know, I remember that. I'm going to say this. This is something I didn't understand. People were talking about when the grid failed last time in Texas. Oh, what? They didn't prepare for it. Like they're not like in the middle of the desert nearly down there in Texas, and it never gets that cold most of the time. Like it's like that's like expecting Britain, which is largely having a problem these days with heat waves in the summer, like to have like warm weather infrastructure. Is like it's a usually cold country. You know, they're not prepared for that kind of weather up there. They shouldn't have to invest in being ready for that kind of weather. Same as Texas. Hopefully though, this time, because it sounds like it'll be another rough year, hopefully this time it doesn't go through a rough spell of its own again where all of its infrastructure collapses, because that of course would be pretty rough. And, you know, no one would like to be a part of that. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. Hope it does stand the test of this winter. And thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. And with that, we are on to the next one.
You know, next, big shout out to Vasile once again for putting in a $5 donation. And thank you once again for that support. And we do appreciate you very, very much. And we also have a $5 super chat from Craig Platel, who says the Crotalas being sent are the next generation variant from the 2007.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's actually good to know. then that means that they'll be, of course, way better in terms of their quality. And that may be why the French are still using them to this day. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. We are on to the next one.
Alrighty, and up next we have a $5 super chat from Philip Fixes, who says Zelensky's wardrobe always represents the everyman, never better than those who are suffering. Got my coffee fun hoodie for the winter storm. Slava LSA. And yeah,
And also, hope you enjoyed that hoodie. And also, thank you so much for getting one and supporting us once again with a super chat. All that helps us out a whole load and helps this channel to, of course, keep running. So thank you so much once again. And also, I actually saw someone bring up something. I'm going to say this real quick, okay? Because I feel like this is something that's worthwhile. Not really political, but pointing out something. Jamie said that 4 people of a certain political party didn't stand up. Well, they didn't stand up and give a standing ovation to Zelensky or clap at all. And what is something to me about that is you got to think the House of Representatives has 435 representatives in it. 435 of them. If 4 of them don't stand up, that's less than 1% of the House of Representatives that is just outright not for something. The other 99% of them were standing and clapping. So, you know, it's like, yeah, of course, you're always going to have a couple of outliers, but I'm not going to sit there and put a magnifying glass on them and act like the whole country thinks that way, you know, because they don't. You know, those are just some outliers, and they are what they are. But anyways,
those type politicians don't last very long, by the way. They typically have short tenures because they're too extreme.
Yeah, or they do something, you know, like that one guy, you know, who had the video, you know, the one I'm talking about, Matthew.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that boy.
Usually, that boy. usually short-lived. I'll say that at least. And you know, he was also short-lived in that video. But with that, we're on to the next one.
Alrighty, and up next we have a $5 super chat from Fusha Cone, who says America's contribution to the global fast food vernacular. Would you like a stint with those fries? Tee-hee!
But anyways, yeah, you know, fast food is a big American deal. It's not really a big deal everywhere else. But you know, I mean, it is what it is. And I gotta say, also, Jamie, we already addressed that. You're putting it in there again. But anyways, getting back to this, it is something that is kind of a problem. Fast food is not healthy for you at all. And let me go into Birmingham, and let me try and find y'all something. Yo mama! Oh man, I think I've actually heard someone in college say that I ought to eat at this place. It doesn't look that bad. Maybe I'll eat there one day. But let's see, what else is there? Let's see. Full Moon Barbecue. Now this is killer good. You talking about good food? The Full Moon Barbecue? They got you covered.
Dang, man, they give you the whole chicken? I didn't know they did that.
Oh, man, they give you the whole chicken, man. You want the chicken? You get the chicken. You know what I mean? This place is good. If y'all ever come to Alabama, you gotta eat here. And so with that, I hope that addresses that fairly well. Well, we're not always into fast food. We're not always a bunch of obese people around here, but some of us are, and some of us like it that way, eh? Anyways, with that, we are on to the next one. But I do get what you're saying. It's not that healthy for you. But with that, we're on to the next one.
All right, and up next, we have a $3 super chat from David Malone, who says, do you think Russians will actually be charged for war crimes, and will I survive a job in Afghanistan? I'm just joking. I wanted to use up word count. Oh, goodness. And also, David, the war crimes issue is actually on my list of videos to make. I was going to make that one before the drone video, but I thought the drone video would probably be an easier one to get out there and go ahead and put one out so I'm not stalling forever. I'm putting a new video out. But I'm going to do one of that eventually. I actually wrote my final research paper in one of my political science courses about that, so I did quite a bit of research on it.
Yeah, did quite a bit of research. Quite a bit of research on that one. I remember it. But with that, I hope we addressed that fairly well. And thank you so much once again for the support. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And up next, we have a $2 super chat from Dupper Bob, who does not leave a comment, but Dupper Bob throws in that $2 every single night very faithfully, and we do appreciate it very much, as always. And up next, we have a $2 super chat from CA Lags, who says, did Zelensky fly on a U.S. Air Force plane?
I believe he did, if I'm correct. He didn't fly on the Ukrainian one, that's for sure. And so with that, I hope that answers the question fairly well. And thank you so much once again for the support. And with that, We are on to the next one. Candy Nose Twinskin said the enforcer is delirious. How am I delirious? I'm just doing a voice. But with that, we're on to the next one.
I'm not even gonna lie, Candy knows. When it starts getting to this point in the stream this late, some nights I do start getting delirious, and like the commentary starts getting a little wild. But anyways, maybe we can hold back. Like maybe I can hold back.
Maybe.
But let's see. Our next, no guarantees. Also, Mad Machine said, "Don't forget the fried okra," and thank you for reminding me. I don't want to forget that. I really love fried okra a lot. I could eat a whole bucket of that fried okra.
Goodness, man. Look, fried okra, Matthew and me can go on for hours. Look at this stuff. It's delicious.
If you haven't had it, don't knock it because it's really good.
Don't knock it until you try it. Now, grilled or boiled okra can be kind of nasty, depending on who cooks it. Fried okra is never bad. Fried okra is like some of the best stuff ever. And in fact, man, I think it's time for us to introduce people to Southern food, because a lot of y'all don't know what Southern food is. This is a fried okra. Now, I'm about to show y'all something that's going to blow y'all's mind. This is grits. Not grit. It's not a singular grit, all right? Because a lot of people get that wrong. It's grits. Grits is corn that's been mashed up and made into like this kind of like a soupy stuff. It's really good. It really depends on how you have it made up. There's normal grits that are just buttered, not that great. But if you have like bacon in it or something else, oh man, you're talking about the cheese is even better. You're talking about some delicious grits. These things are pretty decent. The other thing that we have.
Oh, another thing, real quick, before you pull up what you're about to say. I didn't like it before, but I got them from Full Moon Barbecue, and it comes with this like Alabama sauce. I'm not sure what it is, but it's really good. It's sort of like spicy and tangy. Fried green tomatoes is where it's at. I love those now. They're really good with sauce.
I was just about to get to that. Fried green tomatoes is another bit of Southern food that we love down here. It's delicious stuff. It's just a green tomato, one that isn't really ripe. They fry it up. Oh man, is it so good. It's great. It's delicious. It's the best you can get. Then we have fried catfish. A lot of our stuff is fried down here. You'll find that most of the best stuff is fried. Fried catfish right here. This stuff is really good. If you have fish and chips, think fish and chips, but the fish is killer good. Like the fish
with that
and chips,
lime on it.
Like fish and chips is already good. Fried catfish, to die for. To die for. This is why people from the South join the military so much, because you will fight and die for some fried catfish. I'll tell you that. It's delicious stuff. The other stuff that we have down here, we have these things called hush puppies. Now, these are pretty much just fried balls of bread. I know that many of y'all are going to start sharing stories as to where this name came from. Most of them are untrue. We don't really know where these things came from.
I know the actual story of why it's called a hush puppy.
Oh, Lord. What is it?
So, back in the day, when the Southern folk were cooking their food, they had some leftover scraps of bread, so they fried them like they do everything. And then the dog wouldn't shut up. So, they're like, "Shut up, dog. Hush puppy." And then they threw it down there to the dog, and that's how it started.
That's not a true story, Eddie. That's not
I totally bullcrap that on the spot.
Oh, man.
Like you couldn't tell.
I'm so nerdy. I told. I knew it from the start. Anyways, these things are pretty good as a side dish kind of thing. What else do we have? I'm trying to think of other things that we have, Matthew. Oh man, pulled pork. The basic. This is like the basic of Southern food. You put these things in pulled pork sandwiches. Ooh, oh man, you can't get over the taste. Can't get over the taste. It's so good, especially with barbecue sauce and chow chow. Oh, that's something else. Chow chow. The great addition to any pulled pork sandwich. Not the dog. Chow chow.
Hey.
That's a cute dog, though, but we're looking for the chow chow food. This stuff right here. You throw that over the pulled pork, put the bun on top, you're dying. You're dying, I'm telling you. It's good stuff. Like, Southern food is great. And if anyone tells you that there is no... this is something I hear a lot, and I kind of get miffed by this, is that America has no culture. Like, I don't understand if they don't understand why they're eating hamburgers and hot dogs, that that's a part of American culture. But one thing that really annoys me is that if anyone didn't have a culture and there was only one part of the country that did, it is the southern United States just by the food alone, because their food is very distinct from the rest of the country. A lot of it's really good. A lot of people from around the rest of the country sometimes seek southern food because they say it's comfort food. Now, coming from the South, this isn't comfort food. This is just food. You know, you eat this normally. But for everyone else around the country, they love this stuff, at least from what I heard. So with that, I hope that does. Sloppy Joe's. Y'all forget. Yeah, thank y'all for reminding me. Sloppy Joe. Let's pull it up. Sloppy Joe. Not really my favorite, but it is a thing, and it's pretty good whenever you have it. These things have been around in the South a decent bit too. I thought these were actually a national deal, but apparently not from what y'all are telling me. And ooh man, I love it. I mean, like, you know, you can't, like, I'm not really a big fan of this all the time, but whenever you have it, you're like, man, this stuff is good. Like, it's really good. And then you have the desserts. Oh man, like key lime pie. Y'all ever had key lime pie? Bet you didn't.
Did you see what VDC said in the live chat?
Let's see.
Put some dog on top.
Put some dog in top.
That's what Russians do. That's not what we do.
Oh man, Russians be hungry. Shoot the horse. Quick, get the gun. Anyways, let's see here.
Igor. Igor's next.
Quick, no scope the horse. They just stick the gun out the window without looking, fire the horse. You hear, Igor. Anyways, oh man, that's gonna be like the next world star. You know, like whenever anything happens, people are gonna be going, Igor. Anyways, pecan pie. Oh yeah, y'all are right. Pecan pie. There's about to be another one I'm gonna pull up here in a second. Pecan pie is really good. Y'all have to try that as well. Ooh wee, that's good. And then also, what else? Chocolate dream pie. I'm about to go insane over here. This is good. Not these. These are the kind that you get from a frou-frou restaurant, especially the one from Edwards. I spit in his direction. You want the one that looks like hardly any effort was put into it. We got to find it, because that's the one that's the best tasting.
Hey, there's that Edwards. The Edwards is busting.
Oh, I don't like, man. I'll tell you. You remember that restaurant in the old town we used to live in that shut down? You know, don't say his name. Don't say his name. But
why? Why?
Because man, they'll know where we were. You know, like it was a restaurant.
It was all over. It was in Auburn. It was in Montgomery. It was everywhere.
Okay. Country's Barbecue. You remember their chocolate dream pie?
Yeah, I remember it.
Dude, die for. Yeah, you also get diabetes. You'd literally die if you ate the whole thing, but it was good. Oh, man. We could go on forever about Southern food. I know I'm making y'all hungry. Maybe y'all could go get some Southern food and try it out. Pretty cool food all around. Pretty neat culture, too. But anyways, with that, we're on to the next one.
All right. And on to the next one while I'm starved over here. We have a $10 super chat from Chip Kerwan once again, who says, did you guys cancel the stream last night so you can binge the brand new Prime season of Jack Ryan? Either way, it was conveniently timed for this LSA member. What's that, Jack Ryan?
I don't know what Jack Ryan is, and we didn't watch it, but I canceled the stream last night because the internet went out on us and the whole stream went off, and I was also feeling terrible, and so for those reasons, I canceled for that. But still, I thank you so much once again for the support. I hope we addressed that fairly well, and we are on to the next one.
And the next one we have is from Jason Fawzy, who says, hi from the UK. What do you think the chances of a major winter offensive happening are by either side? I also live close to Slapton Beach in Devon. It has a World War II story worth knowing. Quote-unquote, exercise tiger.
I haven't actually heard of people exercising tigers. I think that's something that would be classified as animal abuse. And absolutely,
Mike Tyson used to do that.
We're going to exercise the tiger.
Yeah.
I did that.
Don't you want to play tiger? Don't you want to play? I can't even imitate his voice that good.
Oh man. Oh, let's see here. I think.
Come on, tiger. Don't you want to play tiger?
Oh Lord, we're losing it over here. We're losing it. But anyway.
Hey, Avari Mandibradis knows about Country's Barbecue.
Oh,
do you see that?
Yeah, he did. He knew about it. Oh my gosh. That is
also,
so
thank
cool.
you for the $5 super chat, too.
Yeah, and thank you. We already addressed that one, so I guess we're back onto this. So thank you so much once again. And they were good. I hate that they went out of business, but one time my mom chipped her one of her teeth because buckshot was still in the meat. So anyways, getting back from that.
Wow.
Let's see. Hi from the UK. What do you think the chance of major winter offensive? I don't think that's likely, especially in the northeastern area. I think that the Ukrainians are waiting for more ideal weather that'll be coming around the end of January and the early part of February to start an offensive. And I think the Russians are waiting for that as well. And so with that, I hope that answers that part fairly well, Jason. And also, now I would usually say, give us the name of your town, but you said you're from, he lives close to Slapton Beach. So, yeah, I think this is it. Slapton Beach must be here. And I think, if I remember correctly, this is when the D-Day preparations were occurring and some German S-boats came along and destroyed a couple of the training vessels. Let's see if I'm true. I'm true. Let me see if I'm correct. Also, look at the beach. It's made of rocks. Wow.
It's made of rocks. What do you know?
That's cool. It's made of rocks. I guess you could say I rock. Anyways.
Rock lobster.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's why I love Britain. This picturesque little scenes like this. So freaking beautiful.
One minute. That sheep out there is looking like it might have a beef with somebody. Like, it's not very happy about this picture.
You talking to me? It's a New York sheep. You talking to me? You dropped me off here in the middle of this picturesque countryside. You got a problem or something? But anyways, let's move on. Let's see. Let me look here.
Also, we're starting to run overtime, by the way, and we still have several more super chats to go.
Oh, this is a battle practice area. And also, thank you so much once again for the support, and thank you for sharing that with us. But with that, we're on to the next one, because we are running out of time, and Matthew is totally right. And so with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one we have is from Tom DeRippa, who says, can you make a video dissecting and destroying the most commonly used Russian disinformation to justify war in Ukraine, such as the bombings in Donbass, etc.?
I could. That may be a video series idea. And, you know, I'm starting to slow down on the video production again because, you know, I came in with a bang and now I got to slow down a little bit. But still, I will look into that. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. And we are on to the next one.
All right. And moving on to our next one, we have a $5 super chat from Fuchsia Cone once again, who says, it's late. I want to change my name to the Connecticut Cajun. I haven't figured out how to do it on YouTube, but you guys rock.
And thank you so much for the support, Fuchsia Cone. And I have faith in you. I have a feeling it'll change soon, and then you'll be just like a brand new member. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, we're on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Richard Daniel Jr., who puts in a $5 donation and says, anything is great with cheese or bacon. Once again, BBQ is nasty, and I'm from the South.
Oh, get out of here, Richard. Get out of here. Barbecue is delicious. I don't know. Like, we'll have to eventually reintroduce you to the Southern diet of barbecue because it's good stuff, and I love it. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. But then again, to be honest with you, not everyone's going to like everything. And, you know, you may just be one of those people who do not like barbecue for one reason or another. But with that, we're on to the next one. And I understand.
And also, we had a request from David Myers. He said, how about a Tommy gun video for Christmas Day, eh?
Oh, David, oh man, I don't want. I could try, but it's going to be quick. I mean, it had to be quick. I'd have to pretty much do the whole thing on camera, almost unedited, and I wouldn't be able to shoot it because, you know, I can't get to a shooting range that quickly unless it was an indoor range, and then I'd blow the microphone out. But with that, we're on to the next one.
All right, and up next we have a $2 super chat from Chip Kurwan, who says, was the Lata for Dead Orc real or Starsky joke?
No, it was real. It was real. For a while, they were actually giving away white Ladas. And so with that, thank you so much for the support. Hope that answers the question. We're on to the next one.
And the next one we have is from CA Lags, who puts in a $2 donation and says the recruit ads were done by Ukrainian partisans.
Interesting. I'll have to check into that a little bit again. And so with that, thank you for the support. I hope that does address the comment. We're on to the next one.
All right. And up next, we have a $2 super chat from Cameron K, who says that Russian city inspired DayZ zombie game.
Really? No way. Okay, now I see the similarities. We're gonna go to the old town of Okuda. Oh man, you know. Anyways, also they have an airport. That looks like the shoddiest airport ever. I would be scared to land here. Like, I'd feel like someone would, like, strip the tires off the plane and leave it on cinder blocks out here. Like, I would not land at that airport. And also, the runway's getting overgrown out here. Ew. Anyways, thank you so much for the support. And we're on to the next one. I didn't actually know that, and I have played that game before.
That's wild, actually.
Yeah.
I've never played that game.
It's a good
one. But anyways, up next we have a $2 super chat from Philip Fixes, who says, Sum of All Fears by Tom Clancy. Ever read it?
I have not read it, and I will maybe try one day, but I don't know. But with that, thank you so much for the support. I hope that does answer the question, Philip Fixes, and I hope you fix something. And with that, we're on to the next one.
You just say Philip Faxes?
No, Philip Fixes, and I said I hope you fix something.
like the fax machine, like Philip faxes.
But
Oh, and also, CA Lags said that was a joke about the recruit ads being done by partisans.
Oh, I thought you were being serious. I was going to have to actually look into that after stream to see if I had to correct something. But with that, we on to the next one.
All right, and that was our last super chat of the night. So thank you all once again for the support, and we're moving on to a few live chat questions, but we are running over time quite a bit. So let's knock out as few as possible, or as many as possible.
So as few, we're gonna answer 5, and then we're gonna round out tonight's stream.
Let's knock out as many as we can. So the first one we have is from Cat Nico, who says that, do you think that Zelensky is getting far more confident considering his leave from his home?
Well, listen, we're wanting to answer as few as possible, so let's get the hell out of it anyways. I would say yes, in a way. I think he is, because the fact that he's left Ukraine for the first time is showing that he may start going on a world tour to garner support for Ukraine, which would be pretty interesting to see. And so with that, I hope that answers the question fairly well. And I think it is showing that he's getting out of his shell. Little fella. He's all grown up. But anyways, we're on to the next.
And I saw Yuri say Freudian slip. Honestly, yes, Yuri, I'm starting to get tired. I'm very hungry too. Like I'm really dying to get up to the refrigerator right now because I'm starving to death. And it's also causing some of the delirium over here.
Now Matthew,
but,
Matthew knows me. Matthew knows me. I will sit here and I will literally keep the stream running if need be until about 2 o'clock in the morning. Just in case y'all don't know, the reason why we get off around 12:30 is because at this point Matthew starts to mentally like shut down, like literally, like he just can't go on beyond this point. And also it's already a 3.5 hour long stream, and you know it's already getting really long. So that's why we usually start cutting it off at this point. But anyways, we're gonna get to the next. See, here we go. I think we're reconnected again. Let me check. And we're back. All right, so let's get that one again.
All right, so we're back. So this question goes to Ritz Flying Circus, who says, who will be blamed for Putin's lost war in Ukraine?
It will probably be Sergei, or it will be another Russian general. It'll probably just be one general or a few of them, not all of them, or Putin may be blamed for it by enterprising politicians in Russia. And so with that, I hope that does answer the question fairly well. And we're on to the next one.
In the next one we have is from The Burn, who says, how will Putin spend Zelensky's trip to the USA?
He'll probably spin it as, see, the Americans directly support him. He went to America because they're his overlords, and they're the master devil, and he's the mini demon devil, or something like that. That's probably how they'll spin it. And so with that, I hope that answers that question fairly well. And we're on to the second to last one of the night.
And this question goes to Jim Kalari, who says, is Tucker Carlson trying to audition for a job on Russian state media? And I think at this point, he would probably qualify for the position. Like, seriously, I'm not even joking about this. That guy, from what he did today, is seriously disgraceful. Like,
what did he say?
I didn't even listen to it. I heard him cut Zelensky off and start immediately attacking him. And not even addressing what was being said. He starts attacking and going into these conspiracy theories about how the United States is funding. I'm not even going to repeat the conspiracies
thing.
Yeah, all this bull crap that is like total made up crap.
You know,
like there's not even a legitimate argument to be had.
I thought Tucker was a patriot. Wouldn't we support that kind of stuff in Ukraine if he was a? Yeah. Anyways, we're not going into that because that is something that starts going down that rabbit hole really easily. But. I don't have a lot of respect for anyone in mainstream media for the most part, especially that guy, because, he's just on another level. But anyways, with that, I think Matthew answered that question fairly well, so we are on to the final one of the night. And so, who is the lucky last person who got in the lucky last question of the night?
And that person is Ashley Fitzsimmons, who says, do you believe the Russian populace is slowly waking from slumber, realizing they had been had by the Putin regime, hence the bad response to the Russian army ads?
Not recently. I think the bad response to the ads is a isolated incident. I think that war support is still high in Russia because, if anything, Radio Free Europe says that it's actually climbed a little bit so far during the war. And so I think that is an isolated incident, and it won't be reflective of the overall war support in the majority of Russia. And so with that, I hope that answers that question fairly well. And guess what, everyone? Guess what, Matthew?
It's time to eat.
It's time to eat! Let's eat! Arby's, we have the meats. But anyways, it's time for us to round out tonight's stream. I thank you all so much once again for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure running this news tonight for all of y'all. I hope you all found something interesting about the news. If y'all did, let us know by hitting that like button and commenting in the comment section after this thing turns into a video. And also subscribe if you haven't. We run the stream every day of the week except for Mondays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, we're not running on Christmas either. And so with that, thank you all so much once again for the support. I hope you'll have a great night. Take care, stay safe, and Slava Ukraini.
Yes. The Leaf Street Army sends its regards.
Наші вороженьки, як роса на сонці, запануємо ми, браття, у своїй сторонці. Душу й тіло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми браття козацького роду. Душу й тіло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми браття козацького